6.5 The Fan. KFNZ welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
And your home for Royals baseball.
Fastball hit high in the air, deep left field, way gone into the bleachers. A two-run homer for Bobby Witt Jr.
Watch The Drive by subscribing on our YouTube channel or listen on demand with the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This show is always going to stand on principles. Dippin' Dots are incredible. Red Lobster is the best restaurant that America has to offer, and baked beans are trash.
You're listening to Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. Here's C-Dot.
Is today not one of those days that, like, sucks and is also nice at the same time? Like, leaving the house this morning and it's 60 degrees, but it's pouring down rain is just the most melancholy feeling imaginable coming out of the winter. I guess we're just kind of stuck with it. Logan Weber filling in for C-Dot on The Drive today. Rob Britton producing the show as per usual. And before we give C-Dot a bunch of grief, all right, he's not just taking the day off today, all right? The man's got a doctor's appointment. He's trying to take care of himself. So before we get on C-Dot's back about not being here, let's give the guy a little bit of credit, all right? He's trying to take care of himself, and we can appreciate that. A lot to get to today. Coming up later on in the program, we are going to visit with Nick Springer of the Pay Heed podcast, talk a little KU. We'll also talk with CBS Sports draft analyst Mike Renner about what the Chiefs may do now that they have 2 first-round picks at number 9 and at number 29. But I want to begin things this afternoon talking about Kenneth Walker. You know, if you have followed me over the last couple of months, whether it be filling in on this show or on Cody and Gold or doing the normal day-to-day of after hours in the evenings, I have long been an advocate of Kenneth Walker to Kansas City. I think that he is, of all the running backs in this free agent class, I think he's the best fit for what would make the Chiefs the most successful offensively. What I mean by that is the guy is an incredibly effective runner of the football. He comes out of a zone blocking scheme, whether that be during his time at Michigan State when he was in college to what he's done now with the Seattle Seahawks. I think that what the Chiefs do in terms of their blocking is going to pair hand in hand with what Kenneth Walker does if it comes to fruition. The thing is we have absolutely no idea if this thing's going to come to fruition. The conflicting reports that have been coming out are astonishing. You know, earlier this week, Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports said the Chiefs are looking for the $8 to $9 million area for a running back, and that's far too expensive for Kenneth Walker. Well, now things are, it just seems like nobody really knows. And NFL analyst for Sports Illustrated, Albert Breer, said that he believes the Chiefs will pursue and are pursuing Kenneth Walker as a running back. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, old Ricky Scoops earlier today, says that the Chiefs are the favorite to land Kenneth Walker. So it's just astonishing to me that people seemingly know nothing and know everything. I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me to think about, but I have long loved the idea of Kenneth Walker coming to Kansas City. It's going to be very dependent on the price point for me. I would like to see the Chiefs spend more than that $8 million area that's been reported on earlier this week to address the running back position. You know, if Kenneth Walker is going to cost you $14 million a year, that's far too high a price to pay. Okay, that's Jonathan Taylor territory. That's Breece Hall on the franchise tag territory. I don't think Kenneth Walker at $14 million a year is justifiable. $12 million? $11 million? I could get behind that if he's in that second tier of backs in terms of salary. Like Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. He makes $12 million in terms of his average annual value. That, I feel like, fits the price point for Kenneth Walker. The question then becomes, if Kenneth Walker is the guy at running back, which I would absolutely love, as much as Travis Etienne is known as a great blocker in pass protection. He's a little bit more reliable catching the ball out of the backfield. I prefer Kenneth Walker because of what he's been able to do despite having to split carries with Zach Charbonnet, the patience that he utilizes when he's running, his vision as a runner, and doing it on the biggest of stages. I feel like that can't be understated, right? Travis Etienne has never had to perform in big-time games the way that Kenneth Walker just did during this playoff run. Having that kind of experience in the playoffs, I think, is an invaluable asset. And when you pair that with a Chiefs team that is led by veterans who have been there, done that more often than anybody in the last decade of professional football, that it just meshes, I think. What is the effectiveness of Kenneth Walker in this offense? I think that's going to be extremely dependent on how often they give him the football. And I know that that's long been a conversation. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter who the Chiefs bring in. They're not going to give him the ball. Folks, I disagree with that. And this is something that Rob and I discussed in it prior to the show. The Chiefs, while they haven't been incredibly effective running the football in the past few seasons, they still run the football. I mean, Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco combined for 281 carries between the two of them a season ago. They still run the football. And they're doing that to the tune of almost 17 carries a game between those two guys last season. And for two guys that were not effective runners of the football. Bringing in a player like a Kenneth Walker is a dramatic improvement over what you've had in your running back room, I would say, since Kareem Hunt's exit from the team the first time around in 2018. The Chiefs have not had a good, let alone great, runner of the football since Kareem Hunt left the team in his second year. Kenneth Walker would immediately become the best back the Chiefs have had since that point. I have no doubt in my mind that if the Chiefs were to bring in Kenneth Walker and he were to remain healthy for 17 games, he would get at least 200 carries, at least. And that's not to mention what the Chiefs could do beyond that to try to help alleviate some extra pressure on him in the draft. Somebody in the text line just asked, if we land Kenneth Walker, would we still try for a running back in the draft? Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that's the plan. If you land a running back in free agency, especially one like Kenneth Walker, you no longer have to hope that Jeremiah Love falls to you at number 9. And it alleviates the possibility of you having to reach in this draft, having to potentially trade up into the end of the second round to go get the Price kid from Notre Dame, or go get Nick Singleton from Penn State, or Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. You know, you could sit there with your pick in the third round and decide who's the best running back available. We'll go from there. I have no doubt in my mind that regardless of what happens with the Chiefs in free agency, they will still take a running back in this draft, because you can't just be reliant on Kenneth Walker and Brashard Smith as the only two running backs at your disposal. Barring having to go sign a second running back in free agency, which makes little to no sense to me at all. Not with the amount of capital that the Chiefs now have at their fingertips in this draft, with 9, maybe even 10 picks if they get some kind of compensatory selection out of Justin Reed signing with the Saints. I am not as harsh on, well, Andy Reid doesn't run the football. I think Andy Reid's teams still do run the football. They just haven't done it effectively because they haven't had the horses. I think Kenneth Walker is the horse. No doubt in my mind, he would unlock something in this offense that hasn't been seen in quite a while. It'll take pressure off of Mahomes. It will take pressure off of the wide receivers. Because, while I will be the first to say, Rashee Rice was underwhelming last year. Xavier Worthy was underwhelming last year. I point to the injuries, but he was underwhelming. No question about Hollywood Brown was underwhelming. The whole wide receiver room was underwhelming. I think a huge part of that was because nobody was playing the Chiefs' running game honest. They said, if you want to give the ball to Isaiah Pacheco 15 times, you go right ahead. If you want to give the ball to Kareem Hunt 20 times, you go right ahead. We are more than comfortable with the understanding that we can still beat you. Because if you can't throw the ball, your running game doesn't scare anybody. Kenneth Walker, especially after the way that he played in the playoffs and in that Super Bowl, he would scare some people. You can't just throw 6 guys in the box consistently against that Chiefs team next year if Kenneth Walker is their running back. You got to play him honest. Linebackers aren't immediately going to have to make their first step backwards to try to take care of the passing game. Establish the run. It opens up play action. It makes that a definite possibility now. I'm very much so a part of the sign Kenneth Walker if you can train. And after the reports earlier this week that it wasn't going to happen because the Chiefs were looking at $8 million a year for a back and Kenneth Walker's too expensive, there's now a handful of reports coming out yesterday and today that say, well, the Chiefs are going to make a run at Kenneth Walker. The Chiefs may even be the favorites to land Kenneth Walker. And I couldn't be more thrilled. You couldn't get Breece Hall, the number 1 back in the class, in the free agency class, because of the franchise tag. Doesn't surprise me. That just feels like the most New York Jets move of all time, to take a guy that wants nothing to do with your organization after the way that you've mishandled his career thus far and the way you've mishandled the team, and you traded away every good player you had. And the Jets said, you know, we're going to keep you just because we feel like it. Go land the second best running back in this class in Kenneth Walker. Unlock something. Allow Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey to be the maulers up front that we know they can be. Allow for Kingsley Sewell-Mata'ia, one of the strongest offensive linemen in football, to just get downhill and get in somebody's face at the second level. Kenneth Walker, I think, could unlock a ton of things in this offense right off the bat from day one. And I would be more confident in that than thinking that Jeremiah Love would be able to do that coming in as a rookie with the 9th overall pick with no NFL experience to his name at this point. 913-586-7965. Logan Weber in here with you today, filling in for C-Dot. Rob Brenton alongside producing. You're listening to The Drive, 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11120.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Stop smoking. Lose weight now without cravings or irritability.
only $59.99 or your money back. Wednesday, April 1st. Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Lose Weight Hypnosis on Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Shore Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Time is 5:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Stop Smoking Hypnosis starts at 8 p.m. Registration starts 7:30 p.m. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking, only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's George Karlaftis from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to The Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Conflicting reports in the last couple of days about the Chiefs' willingness to go after now the top running back in free agency in Kenneth Walker. Earlier this week, it was no, he's going to be too expensive. Now, in the last 24 hours, 3 or 4 different reports, 3 or 4 different rumors swirling about how the Chiefs are in the running, and the Chiefs may even be the prohibitive favorite to land Kenneth Walker. I have not been shy about my opinion on it. I think Kenneth Walker would be a great fit for this Chiefs team. I think he's the best running back left in free agency and could really unlock some things here. But, you know, Rob, I understand you feel a little bit differently about the KW3 sweepstakes in Kansas City.
I'm personally not a fan. Not because I don't think the player's good. Don't get me wrong. He was Super Bowl MVP. There are 3 major reasons why I don't want the Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker. First and foremost, I think he's going to be expensive. I know that Jonathan Jones is reporting on this week from CBS. The Chiefs looking to spend $8 to $9 million. if you're going to get Kenneth Walker, you're not getting him at $8 to $9 million. So if you're spending $13-14 million, let me tell you this. It is bad roster management to spend $14 million on running back. I understand running back was bad last year, but do not overcorrect. You were at a 0 last year. You don't need to be at a 10 this year with investment running back. So I think his likely contract is reason number 1, not a fan. Number 2, scheme fit. The deficiency in Kenneth Walker's game is he is not viewed as much of a pass catcher. And if there's one thing Andy Reid has always had in running backs during his time as a head coach in the NFL is they can catch the football. From Brian Westbrook to Corral Buckhalter to Jamal Charles, even Pacheco can catch the ball a little bit. It was not really a part of Kenneth Walker's game. That's why Zach Charbonnet got as much run as he did. So that's reason number 2 why I don't love the idea of Kenneth Walker. Price, scheme fit, and finally, the late, great Terez Paylor used to always say this about running backs. They only have so many hits in their body. There's only just so much wear and tear a running back can take. And I understand he's going to be 25, 26 years old this upcoming season. But he has been a top 30, and if you take the season he was hurt, a top 15 rushing attempt leader in the NFL every single season. This is a guy who was a workhorse for the Seahawks. And this was multiple schemes, multiple offensive coordinators. It was get the ball to number 9 a bunch. So for a 25-year-old, he has heavy wear and tear. We looked at the numbers earlier. On average, over the course of his 4 seasons, for 17 games, he averages 240 rushes a season. That is a ton of usage. So if I'm having to invest $14 million into a guy for multiple years, you got to worry on the back half of that contract, his body might give out because he is getting excellent for the Seahawks usage. So if his body breaks, you're getting $14 million. That's not great. So for me, scheme fit, price, and usage are 3 reasons why I would avoid Kenneth Walker. I understand the allure, but I don't think he's perfect for Kansas City.
And that you bring up good points. I going through all 3. Number 1, I completely agree with you on price point. I said at the beginning of the show, if it's $14 million a year that you're trying to shell out to a running back, that's far too much. Far too much. You know, I think $8 million is maybe a little bit underwhelming. $14 million is, you're exactly right. That is an overcorrection. That is, you were driving on the shoulder and now you've crossed the median. Number 2, you talk about the scheme. And while I will not say that he is a great catcher of the football. You're right about that. I think that him coming in, he's a better pass catcher than Pacheco or Kareem Hunt were a season ago. I mean, the number of times that Isaiah Pacheco dropped passes last year, never got his head around on a pass last year, was just astonishing. And while, yes, he's not a guy that's going to catch 60 passes out of the backfield, right? If you look at his numbers, they have gotten better in terms of his pass catching ability. His first 2 years in the league, he missed a total of, between his targets and his catches for Kenneth Walker, he had 16 less receptions than targets. So an average of 8 missed targets his first 2 years in the league. The last 2 years, he's only had 12 missed targets. 133 catches in 4 years in the league. You know, roughly around 400 catches out of the backfield per season. The third, you talk about the usage. You talk about the wear and tear, right? The 2 names that are being thrown around all the time are Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne. I mean, we want to say that Kenneth Walker's had a lot of usage. Travis Etienne has had more usage than he has. I mean, over the last 4 years, they're 4 years in the league, Kenneth Walker, 954 total touches between his rushing attempts and his catches out of the backfield. Travis Etienne, 1,065. Etienne, so far in his career, has almost 80 more carries than Kenneth Walker, and he also has managed about 35 more catches than Kenneth Walker. So if overexertion is a concern, I would think that would put Kenneth Walker ahead of Travis Etienne on that list. Because, I mean, Travis Etienne's coming off of a season he had 260 carries last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also had 36 catches out of the backfield. He almost had 300 touches last season. So I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just think that when you look at the rest of this free agent class, yes, Etienne is a better catcher out of the backfield. I won't argue that. But his usage is incrementally higher than Kenneth Walker. So I feel like those two things can sort of wash themselves away in a sense.
I also think this about the usage. And you're right, Travis Etienne gets the ball a lot too. I just remember it is not that long ago in NFL history that Todd Gurley was the best running back in football. He was the guy. He got a big contract from the Rams, and it ended fast. Now, I looked it up. During his time with the Rams, before he got the contract, he averaged over a 17-game season 303 rush attempts a season. Now, that is an outlandish number and explains a lot about his career. And Kenneth Walker's not close to 303, so I'm not making this comparison. But you look at a guy like Todd Gurley as the cautionary tale. You had him as rookie deal. You ran him to nothing. You gave him the second contract, and it was over quick. Now, that's partly because, like I said, 303 rush attempts on average a year is banana land. But just 240, while less than the 303, is not a number that you just ignore, especially considering Seattle is a team that has been heavily reliant on the run game his entire NFL career.
Yeah, I would still rather see them go for one of those two guys than maybe somebody a little bit more unproven. Like Rico Dowdle interests me a little bit because he does have a little bit of pass catching ability out of the backfield. And while he has been used heavily the last 2 years, his 1 year in Dallas and his 1 year in Jacksonville, prior to that, he wasn't really getting a lot of run. So he is a little bit more fresh, I guess you could say. And I don't know, man. 913-586-7965. It seems like the text line is kind of going back and forth on it a little bit. You know, how much of that is due to injury for Kenneth Walker, why he has fewer touches than Etienne has. And there's definitely something to that. I won't argue it. Kenneth Walker's also missed time because of injury. Or I should say Travis Etienne. I mean, he missed a couple of games last year because of an injury. Not as many. He's played 8 more games in the league than Kenneth Walker has to this point. So that's a fair point that you raise by saying that because of injuries, Etienne has just played more and therefore has more touches. Somebody in the text line brings up that Travis Etienne is 2 years older than Kenneth Walker. Roughly 2 years older. So, I mean, Kenneth Walker's 25 years old. Etienne's coming up on 27. Is there anything to that you could factor into it? It sort of goes back and forth. I don't know. But I have to say, I would be I would be happy with either option. If it comes out that Kenneth Walker was $14 million, if he signs with the Broncos 4 for $56, and the Chiefs are able to get Etienne on 3 for $30, okay, I am more than okay with that. I would almost say I would be in agreement on that. If Etienne is going to be that much cheaper than Kenneth Walker would be, because yeah, somebody might be willing to completely overpay for Kenneth Walker after the way that he performed in the postseason. I have no doubt in my mind about that. People are also pointing out things like Todd Gurley, the degenerative knee issues and the chronic arthritis and those sorts of things. I'm seeing Tyler Algier being thrown around in the text line as well. Get one of those two, though. I mean, Algier, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Gainwell, those are guys that are fallback options. Go after the big fish first. If they're too expensive or you miss, fine. Settle for somebody else. But then you're really going to have to take a long, hard look at what you do at the running back position in this draft. Looking across at the other side of the NFL, the rumors are abuzz with A.J. Brown right now, right? And one of the names that's being tossed quite a bit is A.J. Brown to the Chargers. And while I think that that's an interesting one, I don't know why the Chargers would do that necessarily. I mean, Quentin Johnston just made a huge leap from last season to this past year and became a very effective pass catcher. Ladd McConkey just got fewer targets last year, but he's still incredibly effective. I think if you're the Chargers, you should try to attack a tight end position rather than trying to bring in a third wide receiver. Now, I won't fault them for trying to get more weapons for Justin Herbert. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know how A.J. Brown factors in with what the Chargers do, because I feel like him and Quentin Johnston are similar in a lot of respects. Now, you have those two on the outside, Ladd McConkey in the slot. It could unlock quite a bit, but man, you're paying a pretty penny for a wide receiver in A.J. Brown, who has caused a lot of media scrupulous the last couple of years after you just cut a ton from your roster in the last year or so to try to get yourself into a better position salary cap wise.
I will say this. I don't want to see A.J. Brown in the division. Now, part of that is because right now, the Chiefs secondary is Jaden Hicks. That's what their starting secondary is right now, because Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie we know is gone. Watson's an impending free agent, so we don't know the deal there. Brian Cook, impending free agent. Jaden Hicks will be back. I'm not saying they're going to play football with just one safety on the field, but right now their depth chart looks like hollow.
Come on, man. Don't disrespect Shamari Connor out here.
I think he's a free agent too, isn't he?
He's still under contract technically, but they could presumably cut him and save like $3.5 million.
They can't cut Spag's favorite player on earth.
That's fair.
Ladd McConkey definitely regressed in 2025. And if they add a weapon, it could be a problem for the Chiefs. I'm not saying A.J. Brown makes the Chargers a Super Bowl favorite. Don't misconstrue that. But as a Chiefs fan, I don't know I want to see A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey, and Quentin Johnston twice a year. Last year you could argue one of the reasons why the Chargers were lacking is because they were throwing the ball to a regressed McConkey, and Johnston was okay. And that's
Keenan Allen.
That's Keenan Allen's 175 years old. That's not a great weaponry group. If you give Justin Herbert a competent coach, a competent offensive coordinator, a competent offensive line, and an A.J. Brown type, that's an offense that could be a problem for the Chiefs. I'm not saying, oh my God, it's threat level midnight. The Chargers are now the favorite, but I don't know. I want to see A.J. Brown reinvent his career in L.A. And Mike McDaniel, for all his flaws as a head coach, which now that he's out with Miami, the flaws are kind of being seen that he's too much of a buddy-buddy type of coach. You know what he can do is scheme up football. He had Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill open a lot, and Noodle Arm Tua was able to get him the ball. So I don't know. I want A.J. Brown and Justin Herbert being a thing in Los Angeles. I'm a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, fair point. Somebody in the text line said Noel Williams. Forget about the rookie from Cal.
I wasn't going down the whole. They're starting 4 last year.
Yeah, is going to be vastly different. Right now, your top 2 corners are Noel Williams and Christian Fulton. That's a far different starting cornerback room than you had a year ago with McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Yeah, I'm with you. I think A.J. Brown's talent level should certainly strike fear into you. And yeah, the idea of playing that wide receiver core twice a year is terrifying. Until the first time that A.J. Brown finishes a game with 3 targets and 1 catch and then goes on a tirade on social media and the headache begins, it's like, oh, okay. He's one of those guys. You got to take the good with the bad of A.J. Brown.
You say that, and I apologize for interrupting. You say that. It's not like Tyreek Hill's not a headache.
True.
After he got traded, we found out on his podcast, because it needed to be said, that he was calling Drew Rosenhaus after games complaining he wouldn't get enough touches in Kansas City. You did not hear the complaints about touches in Miami. Mike McDaniel was his play caller. So if Mike McDaniel knows how to make Tyreek Hill happy, very different skill set, I have a hunch he would find a way to make A.J. Brown happy. And also, look at noise. We'll say noisy. I don't want to say troubled. Noisy wide receivers in NFL history. When they find a new home, the first year, maybe even sometimes the second year, they aren't noisy anymore. When T.O. went to Philly, what was his best year in Philly? It wasn't the year he was doing sit-ups in his front yard. It was the year before that, year 1. When T.O. went to Dallas, I'm just going to use T.O. apparently twice. First year, good, not a problem. Randy Moss, when he went to New Orleans, left Oakland, good, not a problem. When you first are a noisy wideout and you go to the new spot, you usually are not noisy in year 1. So, I'm not saying those issues don't exist. A.J. Brown might read a book one day on Jim Harbaugh's sideline, but I don't think that's happening in year 1, because usually year 1, those guys are just trying to be all about the team. And if he's all about the team and getting 1,300 yards, that's a real problem for Kansas City if that's happening in LA.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, George Pickens this last year with the Dallas
Great
Cowboys,
example,
right?
yeah.
DK Metcalf with the Steelers. He wasn't in the news a ton, despite the fact that the team wasn't great. But, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, you do have your Antonio Browns out there who go to Tampa Bay and abruptly leave the game in the middle of play. Just, yeah, it kind of goes on both sides. Somebody in the text line says, let me guess, Rob will pass on a great receiver like A.J. Brown. Rob, I'll give you a chance to answer here in a minute, but I'll be the first to say I don't want A.J. Brown in Kansas City. Not just because he can be a little bit of a headache off the field. He's expensive, man. He is extremely expensive. And for a Chiefs team that is trying to utilize the money that they have at their disposal and the money that they may soon have on top of it, you know, there's still rumors that they could restructure. Veach said that they could get, like $60 million under the cap with some other moves. We'll see. Bringing in somebody like A.J. Brown and paying them $30 million a year makes it a lot harder to fill holes at running back, at defensive end, potentially at defensive tackle and corner, safety if you need to. I would pass on A.J. Brown purely because it's just far too expensive an option. And if the rumors are true, the Eagles were offered a first and a third round pick for A.J. Brown. And Howie Roseman said no. So far too expensive a salary for the Chiefs. And I believe far too high a price point in terms of draft capital that you would have to send to Philly in order to make it happen.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here. Is being anti-A.J. Brown on the Chiefs at this point in time even a controversial take?
Shouldn't be. I
mean, it's going to require a 1+ to get him. That's a lot of draft capital that you just gained. Why would you give it back immediately? You're right. He does carry a massive contract. I don't mean to echo everything you're saying. He is a headache. On top of that, I watched the Chiefs in 2025 and came to the following conclusion. And it's the one this show has been adamant in saying a lot of. Younger and more explosive. A.J. Brown's 30. He's neither younger nor more explosive. Now, he's more explosive than Rashee Rice, but he's definitely not younger. I don't know that adding guys with a 3 in front of their age is a winning formula for the Chiefs this offseason. So it's a no from me, and it has almost nothing to do with the talent. It has everything to do with age, contract, and compensation. No, just it would be astonishing to me if Brett Veach got all this draft capital from Trent McDuffie and immediately got rid of all of it to add more expensive 30-year-old wide receiver. That would be poor roster construction. I don't think Brett Veach would be doing that.
Yeah, if I'm going to see the Chiefs trade for a wide receiver this offseason, I would much rather see them go after like a Brian Thomas Jr.
who is supposedly on the market.
That's what they're saying. He's still on a rookie deal. Yeah, you'd probably have to give up a first. I would say that that's a real possibility, or a second and a fifth, or whatever, right? I think the price point for Brian Thomas Jr. may actually be just a little bit lower than A.J. Brown, but not much. But you're looking at a guy that would still have 2 years, even 3 because of that 5th-year option on a rookie deal that you would be able to bring in to help this team out along the way. And he brings something completely different, I think, to this Chiefs unit than they've had in this wide receiver room in quite a few years. Last thing I've got here before we get to Nick Springer of the Pay Heed podcast. Jeff Goodman has reported that there are 3 names that are at the top for the K-State head coaching opening. Those 3 names are Josh Schertz of SLU. They also reportedly said Jared Calhoun at Utah State and Casey Alexander of Belmont. Now, it is also interesting that we got a report less than an hour ago, or a couple of hours ago, I should say, from Matt Norlander of CBS Sports, who said that K-State did reach out to Josh Schertz over at SLU, but sources are saying there's no way. He's out of the mix for the K-State job. SLU's in the midst of trying to give him a massive extension and an upgrade on his contract. So if that's the case, of the other 2, who's the more presentable option? Like, who actually makes any sense for them?
I don't think. I mean, for knowing that Casey Alexander guy today, his team took an L to Drake.
Yeah, they got blown out.
Arch Madness. Yeah,
they were the 1 seed, and Drake was the 9, and they got blown out. But I can't help but think. Like, I would think that Jared Calhoun is actually a more presentable option. Calhoun has been known to sort of take those higher up jobs. He's gone from Youngstown or from Fairmont to Youngstown to Utah State. He has tried to extend himself. Casey Alexander is the exact opposite. Casey Alexander, the biggest thing that stops me from considering Casey Alexander, that man is loyal, folks. When I say loyal, he was born and raised in Tennessee. He played at Belmont. He was then an assistant at Belmont for 16 years. He left the state of Tennessee for 3 seasons to coach at Stetson before he came back and coached 7 years at Lipscomb back in Tennessee, and he's been with Belmont since 2019. The man's 53 years old. He has resided for 51 of those years, give or take, in the state of Tennessee. Pulling a man from his home state who's been there his entire life may be a hard thing for K-State to try to do. And I'm not to be disrespectful and not to try to dig K-State fans, but it's not as if there's a massive basketball pedigree that follows the Wildcats around. I mean, you've been to one Final Four in the history of your program, and it was in 1951. I'm just being honest here. Yeah, is K-State a better job than Belmont? 1,000% it is. Is K-State a better job than SLU? Maybe. It's a better job than Utah State? Yeah, but there might be other jobs out there that are of bigger interest to these guys than K-State. Things could get from bad to worse for the Wildcats pretty damn quick. 913-586-7965. Speaking of K-State, they got a big matchup against KU to close out the regular season tomorrow. And to talk about it, we're going to have Nick Springer, host of the Pay Heed podcast, on with us next. Stick around. Logan Weber filling in for CDOT alongside Rob. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
With Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you have poor sleep? What about low energy? How about brain fog, a reduced sex drive, weight gain, and workouts that just don't deliver like they used to? Well, the problem could be low testosterone. And the truth is, those testosterone levels can start declining as early as your 30s, 2 or 3% every single year. And before you know it, you just don't feel like the same man you did back in the day. Well, you don't have to accept this as just aging. Heartland Men's Health specializes in customized testosterone therapy and targeted body composition plans. You might think you have low T. Well, pick up the phone and call this number, 844-447-6600, or check out the website and take this simple 10-question quiz. Visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Your initial visit is just $100, includes a medical consultation, a PSA test, and lab results in about 30 minutes, and your treatment can start that day. 3 locations, Overland Park, Independence, North Kansas City. There's no need to wait. Go stop by and see my friends over at Heartland Men's Health.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent. You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Drew Brees here. Whether you're on the field or on the road, having the right team on your side makes all the difference. I learned that the hard way. On the field, you don't go anywhere without a solid O-line. And when your car breaks down, you want that same kind of protection. That's why I trust CarShield. Their protection plans help you tackle expensive repairs so that you're not blindsided.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With the center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
He got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13 and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
This afternoon, expect showers and thunderstorms with a high of 73.
Weather brought to you by Staples. From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store and online. Staples. That was easy.
Subscribe to 96.5 The Fan on YouTube to watch the show from wherever you are.
Regular season coming to a close this weekend across college basketball. And, of course, right here in the Kansas City metro area. Helps to end it on a rivalry. KU K-State tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock on CBS in Lawrence at Allen Fieldhouse. Jayhawks, the number 14 team in the country. K-State bumbling around at 12-18 right now. And on the line with us now to discuss tomorrow's game and maybe more of what we could see from the Jayhawks moving forward is Nick Springer of the Pay Heed podcast. And Nick, I mean, first things first, KU 16.5-point favorites tomorrow in Lawrence. I know that things have been a little bit up and down for the Jayhawks of late, but I mean, this doesn't feel like a game that the Jayhawks could presumably lose, man, right?
It doesn't feel that way, no. Kansas hasn't lost on senior day at Allen Fieldhouse since the French and Indian War. They haven't lost to K-State at Allen Fieldhouse in 20 years. It does seem like all things should point to Kansas having an opportunity to get back on track in this game. But as you kind of alluded to, KU's lost 4 of 6, and they're coming off of a really rough road trip to Arizona where they got beat pretty badly by Arizona. And then they waltzed into Tempe and basically sleptwalked for 35 minutes of the game against Arizona State. Was down 20 at halftime, showed a little bit of fight back early in the second half, but then ultimately lost that game in a game that Arizona State did not play very well either. And so that was really, really rough. KU played one of maybe its worst halves of the season in the first half against Arizona State. So, yes, it's senior day. You're going to be playing against your rival K-State, and you want to win. But ultimately, for me at least, looking at this game for KU, whether they win by 15, 20, 12, 10, I don't really think that's going to matter as much for KU as much as it's going to matter of what's their energy level, what's the team attitude, what is their body language, how are they looking heading into this game and hoping to build off this heading into the postseason, because time is out for Kansas, right? I think the story of the season for KU has been trying to get Darren Peterson to gel with the team, trying to feel like you have chemistry when he's on the floor offensively with everybody else. And the thought process with that has been, there's time. Guess what? There ain't time now. You're out of time, because after you play this game, you're basically playing for your season after that. At the Big 12 tournament, lose and you're done. And obviously in the NCAA tournament, losing your season's over. So this is their last opportunity to feel like they're moving in a positive direction with that. And obviously, it feels like they have been not moving in a positive direction based off of the past week or so. So it's an important game for Kansas. Again, I'm not going to be paying attention to the score as much as I'll be paying attention to, hey, how do these guys look? Do they feel like they have that swagger back a little bit after a rough week in Arizona, a rough weekend in Arizona? And is there something that they're going to be building off of from this game heading into the postseason?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see because, I mean, most of the season has been the lead story of Darren Peterson and his availability or lack thereof. And now in the last week or two, it feels like Darren Peterson's been playing much more consistently the way that Jayhawk fans were hoping for, but it hasn't been effective. He hasn't shot the ball particularly well. You know, now that he's back and he's playing consistently 30 to 34 to 36 minutes a night, which is what fans have been hoping for, what's it going to take and what is it inevitably going to be the switch that it takes for him to re-find his shot and get this Jayhawks team in the best position possible for a March run?
Yeah, you mentioned it with Darren Peterson. He's played 30-plus minutes in the last 4 games now for Kansas, going back to that Cincinnati loss on Fieldhouse. He had the Houston win. He played 32 minutes against Cincinnati, 30 against Houston, 31 against Arizona, and 34 against Arizona State. And yeah, he also has been very inefficient over that time period, right? At least earlier in the season when he was only playing in the first half of some of the games he was playing in, he was scoring and being very effective. So it's a learning process on both sides, right? It's Darren Peterson learning how he's trying to play. I think the other part of this is that obviously whatever he's been dealing with physically is impacting him, right? Whether it's he's still dealing with it physically, or whether there's a mental thing there of, hey, can I go full 100%, for an entire game without having any issues, whether it's cramping or whatever he's been dealing with. So I think that's a part of it as well, maybe contributing a little bit to some of his struggles. But the other thought that I had about this relating to Darren Peterson and Arizona State is, you think about the fact that the games that he did play early in the season or over the course of the season, most of the time, what was it? He was playing in the first half, usually able to play, usually would come out in the second half for a few minutes, and then was unable to finish the game, right? What's the most important time in the postseason where you want to have everybody on the floor understanding what's happening and having that team chemistry? It's at the end of the game, in the critical moments of the game. Well, Kansas has had basically 0 reps of Darren Peterson in those moments, right? You go back to the Arizona State game, they're down 2 with 3 minutes left. They give up a 3 and then an immediate steal, and Arizona goes to 7, and the game's basically over from there. But the point being that if it's a 2-point game, if it's a 4-point game, one way or the other for Kansas late in an NCAA tournament game with Darren Peterson on the floor, it's not like those guys had a lot of those experiences with him out there together in those clutch moments. So I am a little bit nervous about that, a little bit worried about that. As far as Darren Peterson goes, it's so tough. He's in a really difficult spot because I think there's moments where he looks like he's trying to do too much, where he really, really wants to individually create and try to score, and it can have ripple effects across the offense in negative ways. And then there's other moments where it's like, man, you love to see him drive that situation and take it, and he's a bit more passive, right? So he's kind of been in a lose-lose situation, I think, in terms of what he's trying to figure out when he needs to do, when he needs to be aggressive, when he needs to be that guy versus when he can be more of a facilitator. He did have a nice game against Arizona on the assists. He was getting much more involved. There was a stat going around that he had like 8 assists in the last 9 games or something. He got a little bit more involved passing and leading to some scoring for Kansas. But yeah, it's a very fine line that he's trying to walk, that Bill Self's trying to walk, obviously, and the rest of the team, because Melvin Council and Trey White are 2 guys that, when they're aggressive, are really, really quality pieces, and yet they haven't been able to sort of find that balance of being aggressive when Darren Peterson's out there, because they've become more passive, right? You see Floyd Badunga, he can be a guy that can be a double-double machine, but with Darren Peterson out there, he tends to not be as effective. So there's a lot of intermediary things that they're trying to marry together here. And again, the biggest issue here for Kansas now is the fact that this isn't January. You're in March, so time is up, and that's why this K-State game I think is really important, just from the standpoint of it's your last opportunity to try to see if you feel like you have anything moving in the right direction before you get to postseason play.
Visiting with Nick Springer, he's the host of the Pay Heed podcast, and Nick, it seems like for the most part, it's pretty collective that people have this KU team somewhere on that 4 seed line. A few have them sprinkled into the 5 seed line. But most say that with a great run here, closing out the regular season and into the Big 12 tournament, there's still a chance that the Jayhawks could push themselves to a 3 seed. In your view, what's it going to take for the Jayhawks to get to the 3 seed line and set themselves up for a shot to get to the second weekend of March?
Well, I think certainly you'd have to probably, depending on the seeding of the Big 12, is going to be, the Big 12 tournament will be an issue because if KU ends up as a 4 seed, which if you look at sort of the projected outcomes of Saturday, that's probably where they're going to end up. They would need BYU to beat Texas Tech in order to potentially be a 3 seed in the Big 12 tournament. If they're a 4 seed, that's going to set them up to more than likely play Iowa State on Thursday. And if you win that game and then maybe win another game on Friday, then I think maybe you're potentially back in the conversation of being on that 3 seed line. I think you probably have to win at least 2 games in the Big 12 tournament. Now, if you somehow end up being a 3 seed, it would be better, I guess, hypothetically, but you'd actually be playing lower level competition essentially in terms of your resume on that Thursday game. You know, you'd be looking at probably, I'd have to pull up the bracket in front of me, but you'd be looking at playing like a UCF potentially or somebody in that range in that first Thursday game. So then maybe you need to make it all the way to maybe winning the Big 12 title in that case. But if you are that 4 seed, you're going to have a chance to play Iowa State, and then you're going to be playing Arizona again. And so you beat Iowa State. I don't know how likely it is you beat Arizona, but if you win that game, then you're probably back in the 3 seed discussion. If you're Kansas, which, you know, Oklahoma City is a destination for the NCAA tournament, so maybe, you know, that's probably the preferred spot if you are a Kansas fan in terms of Kansas fans traveling down. But Kansas also has had some bad history in Oklahoma City. So do you want to go to Oklahoma City? I don't know. Kansas right now also, if you look at bracket matrix, is the last 4 seed. So they're certainly going to have to win minimum 2 games and make it to the Big 12 final, and they may even have to win it to ensure that they're going to get a 3 seed.
Well, it's all going to have to start tomorrow afternoon against K-State. Nick, appreciate you taking the time this afternoon, my man.
Yeah, thank you very much, Logan.
Absolutely. That is Nick Springer of the Pay Heed podcast joining us, talking a little KU, K-State. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock over on CBS to get the regular season concluded for both teams. 913-586-7965. Stick around. We've got more coming up, including Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation joining us in the 3 o'clock hour. Logan Weber filling in for C-Dot alongside Rob Britton. You're listening to The Drive, 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Bretton.
You losers! It's what you are!
On your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan. When severe weather hits, tune in to 98.1 KMBZ for Operation Stormwatch. Brought to you by Century Roofing. Proudly voted the #1 roofing company in all of Kansas City. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. We're excited to launch Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana & Parks. This is about Kansas City, not about soccer. Telling the story of how our town ended up hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, plus video clips on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
Subscribe to Beyond the Pitch KC on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Did your HVAC struggle through this rough winter? When it comes to your home comfort, trust the local experts at Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new HVAC system with our trade-in allowance program. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee, means you get safe, reliable service and peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-885-3100. 800-885-3100. 800-885-3100.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays. That's what I do. I love it a lot. Live betting and more. Earn BetMGM reward points on every single bet. Take advantage of offers found nowhere else, and keep an eye out for your rewards dropping in your account throughout the year. So again, sign up with bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM, make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsible. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
The Drive's Papa Shot Tournament is Wednesday, March 18th at Draftcade starting at 6:30. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Listening to The Drive here on 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber filling in for C-Dot this afternoon. Guy had to go to a doctor's appointment. Can't fault him for that. Rob Britton producing the show as always. Big thank you to Nick Springer of the Payheed Podcast for joining us, talking a little KU K-State for tomorrow afternoon. We'll have Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation at the end of the hour to talk about Mizzou's matchup against Arkansas and some big news out of Arkansas as one of their leading scorers will not be going tomorrow for the Razorbacks. That may help the Mizzou Tigers in a big way. Got some baseball news for you. This one dropped this morning. A Royals legend is going to be joining the broadcast team for the new Royals TV through Major League Baseball. Eric Hosmer is going to be joining the crew as an analyst for the club. He is the second such addition for the Royals.TV crew, with Bridget Howard, who's been brought on as, they're calling it a sideline reporter. I would say more of an on-field reporter, considering there isn't a sideline in baseball. I digress. That's a bit nitpicky. So Hosmer is joining a crew that will include, obviously, Ryan Lefevre, Jake Eisenberg, Rex Hudler, Jeremy Guthrie, Joel Goldberg, and Jeff Montgomery will continue to do the pre- and post-game shows for the Royals TV broadcast. And how about that? You know, Haas, an absolute legend in Kansas City, a part of course, both of those World Series runs in 14 and 15. Kind of a cool little story. You know, Haas he's done the podcast, you know, since he's retired from baseball, and has always expressed nothing but the utmost love and admiration for Kansas City as a whole, dating back to his time as a player to even after he inevitably left and went and signed with the San Diego Padres. You know, it was a situation where it felt like if the Royals had been able to put together the package that San Diego did, he would have stayed with the Royals. The money didn't work out, and now that his career is done, he wants to make some hay back in Kansas City cheering on the boys in blue. Gotta love that.
I mean, it's fantastic for Royals fans, and I think he's a very good analyst in the times he's done it. He's done some fill-in work.
He's done like MLB Network in the past and stuff like that.
He's done some of the Apple games.
Yeah.
I know that he did a stint last year. I think it was during the weekend where they honored the 2015 team, where he was doing stuff with Joel and Montgomery before and after the game. I think he is a very good addition, but suddenly that Royals TV crew is expansive. Like, it's got 7, 8, 9, 10 people on it. Like, I'm curious how they manage it, but I'm excited that Eric Hosmer is on the broadcast. I think the broadcast is going to get better as a part of that.
Oh, completely agree. And you're right. It is saturated, to say the least. I mean, you've got 3 analysts now with Hud and Guthrie and now Hosmer, on top of the numerous guys you've got that do play-by-play, and then you've got, you know, the new hire doing sideline or on-field reporting. It's a lot of voices flying around. And then, of course, you got Goldie and Montgomery that are doing pre- and post-game for it. But, you know, if it creates a better prospect, a better product, then I'm all in for it. Absolutely. Speaking of baseball, how about the World Baseball Classic? The games officially started today. There were a lot of exhibitions and things like that, but pool play began today, which would have been technically yesterday in the World Baseball Classic. It began with Japan absolutely ripping Chinese Taipei 13-0. Shohei Ohtani 3 for 4, a double, a grand slam. He finished with 5 ribbies. Sort of feel bad for Chinese Taipei. Like, why would you put them in that position? Like, why you got to let those guys play Japan right out of the gate? That just feels somewhat disrespectful in a sense. Venezuela earlier today beat the Netherlands 6-2. Mikel Garcia was 1 for 4. Salvi went 1 for 4 at the dish as well. And how about a third Royals player getting a chance to compete in the WBC? Luindo Avila came out and actually pitched a couple of innings for Venezuela today. He only gave up 1 run. It wasn't earned. Struck out 2. He walked 3, but got the hold as Venezuela won it 6-2. Looking at Cuba, beat Panama earlier today also 3-1 because of a 2-run bomb by Yohan Moncada to give the Cubans the W. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we get to see the United States for the first time as they battle Brazil. And I think that the World Baseball Classic could very much have an impact on the Royals this year. And I'm not just saying from a standpoint of allowing these guys to sort of hit the ground running against premier competition through the World Baseball Classic. Absolutely, that's a factor. But I look at if Bobby Witt Jr. plays well, hitting leadoff, and this has been talked about a couple of times at this point now, how do you think that impacts the Royals' thought process surrounding Bobby Witt Jr.? Because they've mentioned it. Piccolo and Matt Quatrero, those guys have thrown out the idea of having Bobby hit leadoff because of his speed, because of his base stealing ability. His ability to drive in runs is the biggest thing that gives me pause behind him being an outfield, the leadoff hitter, especially if you factor in his career as a leadoff hitter. The splits are not great. I mean, I believe for his career, he is hitting under 200 as a leadoff hitter. Now, that's been several years ago at this point, and he's a much different player today than he was his rookie year or his second year in the league. I will not argue that point. But if Bobby goes out and tears the cover off the baseball, hitting leadoff for this World Baseball Championship roster, World Baseball Classic roster for the USA, do you think that it becomes more of a priority to consider Bobby hitting leadoff for the Royals? And if so, how does it affect the rest of the lineup? Because I feel like if Bobby's hitting leadoff, do you slide Vinny up to 2, slide Salvi to 3, maybe have Cags hitting cleanup? Do you put Michael Garcia in the 2 hole? Let Vinny and Salvi stay at 3 and 4. You move, say, Cags to 5, let Jensen hit 6. I mean, it have a serious impact on the team. And for whoever would hit leadoff, if it's not Bobby, that guy would slide from like the 1 hole to the 7 in this order pretty quick. I don't know. When the news first broke about Bobby hitting leadoff in the World Baseball Classic and what the Royals could do with it, I sort of dismissed it. But the more I think about it, you allow for his elite speed and his base stealing to become more of a factor if he's hitting leadoff. Not to mention, he's your best hitter. He is now guaranteed to have the most at-bats of anybody on the roster. I don't hate that idea.
My one hang-up, and I don't hate the idea. I had the same thought you do when I saw it. It really will depend on how Garcia is hitting this year, because after 24, they felt like he wasn't a leadoff man. Last year, he was a leadoff man, so it really depends on what he is, because I think he's best served a leadoff spot, so his viability in the lineup. I also think it depends on Cags. If Cags comes out hot and tears the cover off the ball, and you put him in the 5 slot, and you go Bobby, Garcia, Vinny, Salvi, Cags, and they're hitting, that's a strong lineup. But if Cags is going to struggle out the gate, I don't think you can afford to have Bobby leading off, because now you're staring down the barrel of 1 out, potentially no one on, and the pressure ratchets up down the lineup. I think the rest of the lineup will indicate whether Q can make this move or not. It's different for Team USA when it goes Bobby, Bregman, Judge, just a little bit of a different animal.
Yeah, it's sort of like what the Dodgers are doing, right? Because I've seen people that are like, well, the Dodgers let Shohei Ohtani bat leadoff. Right, because he's one of 6 potential Hall of Famers in that lineup, man. Like, you can let Shohei hit leadoff when you've got Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith and Teoscar Hernandez and now Kyle Tucker hitting behind him in the order. That's justifiable, no question about it. But for Bobby, are you willing to sacrifice some of the run production that we've seen him garner out of the 2 spot the last 2 years in order to maybe get a bigger impact from him on the base paths? That's the biggest question. Logan Weber filling in for Carrington Harrison here on The Drive this afternoon. Rob Britton producing the show. Coming up, we've got Mike Renner. He is of CBS Sports. He does a lot of draft analyst, and we'll discuss what the Chiefs can do now that they've got 2 picks in the first round at number 9 and 29. Stick around for that here on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings each and every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout. Whatever you like. You can mix spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then you go apply your profit boost and instantly boost up that potential payout. You can play it safe. You can go spicy. You can go with the team that you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside than ever before with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. Remember, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook app. Play your way. It's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable boost builder tokens, which can apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deal on airport parking.
Spring getaway on the calendar? Start your trip stress-free with Park & Go, open 24/7 with all covered parking, so your car's protected from the elements. Quick shuttle service right to the terminal. Reserve now at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family-owned and operated.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
My friends at Smokehouse Barbecue have 2 new items that you need to try. First, meet the Pickle Jack Sandwich. We're taking tender smoked ham and melted pepper jack cheese, piled high with our signature pickle fries. It's crunchy, spicy, and smoky as well. And if you need to warm up, how about some Smokehouse chili? It's not your average recipe. It's loaded with our famous chopped burnt ends and savory sausage. And don't forget carryout, which you can order at SmokehouseBBQ.com. Visit Smokehouse Barbecue in Independence, Zona Rosa, and Gladstone. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis. Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis. 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
A 2-vehicle crash northbound I-435 before 23rd Street. The left lane is closed. Heavy congestion is building rapidly across I-35 and I-70, and the Grandview Triangle is seeing heavy volumes. I'm Bill Brooks, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Trey Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to the Drive with CDOT on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Mike Renner of CBS Sports joining us now to talk a little NFL draft. And Mike, obviously the energy surrounding this year's draft for the Chiefs is unlike anything we've seen in recent memory because they have the 9th overall pick. It made even more so this week by the blockbuster trade with Trent McDuffie acquiring the 29th pick now. With the Chiefs having 2 now in the top 30 of this draft in the first round, what do you see when you look at your big board and you're looking at the top 200 prospects? Who are some of the names that stand out to you that would be a great fit for the Chiefs and would be available in your view in that 9 and 29 spot right now?
With that pick 9, the position I keep going back to is offensive tackle, because ideally, and basically historically, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you're not drafting top 10. You're not getting those premium picks. And there's certain positions that you really are going to struggle to find outside of the top 10, outside of the top 15. They obviously hit on one in Josh Simmons last year, but tackled historically, you usually need to draft one high to get a real all-pro type of player. So that's where my eyes go. I think someone like Francis Maui-Noah at right tackle, the Miami tackle, would be an ideal fit. I mean, him and Trey Smith on the same side would be a crazy powerful duo, and just that would solidify basically a 5 in front of Mahomes probably for the rest of his career at this point, given the ages of those guys. So that's where I keep going to pick 9. Then at 29, I think that's when corner starts to make sense. I think it's a very deep cornerback class. There's a lot of guys I like in this. The one I go for the Chiefs is Avion Terrell, the Clemson corner, because my comp for him is literally Trent McDuffie. I mean, he fills that same role in the defense, the kind of slot, hybrid, all-around weapon in your secondary that can make plays, whether it's with forced fumbles or on the football. So those two guys are kind of my ideal scenario for the Chiefs, but obviously a lot of ways this draft can go with those two picks.
Yeah, and I think just in the conversations being had here in this area in Chiefs Kingdom, a lot of conversations been had about the defensive line, edge rusher, defensive tackle. It's been a cause for concern the last couple of seasons here for the Chiefs. Is there anybody you see at either of those spots that the Chiefs could or should take a flyer on at that position group? Or is it a situation where, like, if you're sitting there at 9, a David Bailey or a Ruben Bain are going to be gone well before you reach your pick?
See, that's what I keep going back to about pick 9 is that there's 3 guys that I think are top 10 edge rushers. You hit 2 of them in David Bailey and Ruben Bain. Arvell Reese is the other one, and I think that's obviously a pipe dream. He's not falling to 9. So I just don't see any of those 3, given how many teams in front of them need edge. The Jets need edge. The Titans need edge. The Commanders need edge. There's just so many teams in front of them that would draft one of those guys, it seems like. So if one falls to you, by all means, I think that's a home run because, again, that's another position that's hard to find at the back end of the first round, real high-end guys. So outside of that, though, Peter Woods, to me, is probably the only other defensive lineman I'm even talking about at pick 9, but it feels a little too high for him. And he also just doesn't have the frame that we typically speak of when we think of top 10 defensive tackles. He's just really undersized.
And, I mean, no scenario where like a Caleb Banks from Florida is still in that area at number 29. You think he goes before then?
He's a wild card in this class because of medicals and just not having played a ton of football. But I would bet, given his physical tools, given the lack of that in the rest of this DT class, that he's not going to make it to 29.
Makes sense to me. And then, the other thing that's being talked about a lot, and everybody seemingly has been mocking him to the Chiefs over the past few months, is, of course, the Jeremiah Love situation at number 9. Do you think he's available at number 9? And how could the Chiefs' free agency acquisition at running back, if they get one, would impact whether or not they would take a flyer on the back from Notre Dame with the 9th overall pick?
Yeah, I would just much rather get one in free agency if you can, right? If you can get a Kenneth Walker, if you can get a Travis Etienne. Not to say those guys, Jeremiah Love, I do think he's special, but I also do think Jeremiah Love goes higher than 9. After he ran a 4.36, I mean, the Saints right there in front of him feel like a shoo-in if he's on the board there, given Kellen Moore's love for running back. So I just don't think he's available at 9. And then you can't really risk it going into this draft saying we need a running back because after him, there's no one. I mean, there is not a running back that I would want in probably the top 50 picks. And then even after that, it's just such a thin class. There's only 3 guys I have in my entire top 100 at running back. So I would, if your plan is to find a running back in this draft, you may come out empty-handed.
Looking at, again, that 9th overall pick, we're talking about a lot of people now throwing around the wide receiver position group because of some of the things going on, this investigation surrounding Rashee Rice, some of the disappointment in the lack of development in that room. A lot of conversation about, could Carnell Tate still be there at 9? What about Mekhi Lemon or a Jordan Tyson? What do you make out of those 3 prospects and what their potential fit could be with this Chiefs offense?
I think Tate or Tyson make the most sense. They're much more of the outside type of guys with a little bit more of a catch radius that is just what they're missing, right? I mean, that is, they just had such redundant skill sets on the outside with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton. It's just those guys all had to do the exact same things, and that's why it just looks stagnant at times. So, like I said, Tyson and Tate are bigger bodied, downfield, intermediate route runners that can provide a little bit more to you in that regard. So 9's not too high for either of them in my eyes, but it's also wide receiver is one of the stronger positions. And again, it's one of those positions that you can find 29. You can find that even on day 2, pick 40. Wouldn't even surprise me if they wait until then to address wide receiver.
And then looking at a position that I mean, I have a lot of belief in Caleb Downs as a player. I have said that if there's one guy in this draft class that I would be willing to say would be a Hall of Famer, I've leaned towards Caleb Downs. His availability at number 9, his potential fit with this Chiefs team, considering the fact that Brian Cook is more likely than not going to be wearing a different jersey next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's like you said, he's one of those players that's just good enough that you kind of, the position you don't really care about when you're drafting at pick 9. I would take him if I were the Chiefs. I do think that, again, he could do a lot of the same things Trent McDuffie did if you wanted him to play in the slot. Like he is just that versatile of a piece. If you wanted him to play outside cornerback, I'm sure he could do that too. He's that good at pretty much everything you could want a back 7 defender to be. So sometimes in the draft, and especially in this draft where there's not a lot of sure things, you just take the sure thing. You know you're getting a great player, even if it's not necessarily the position that you traditionally get top 10.
And the Chiefs have a lot of draft capital going into April than they had prior to the McDuffie trade, certainly. They're looking at a position now where they have 7, potentially 8 picks inside the top 200 of this draft class, the 2 first, a second, a third, a fourth, and maybe even 3 fifth-round picks. You do your top 200 prospects list. If there is 1 or 2 guys that you look at in terms of your prospect board that sits somewhere in that range of like 109 to 150 that you think could be an immediate impact guy for the Chiefs that makes a lot of sense, what are we looking at? I mean, who's that guy the Chiefs could land in the middle rounds that could be a huge impact?
I mean, it's always hard to project that point in the draft, but I would be looking at just interior pass rushers on their defensive line. I think getting someone to be what you didn't have without Turk Wharton, right? I think there's some guys. There's a guy by the name of Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana who I think can be this year's version. If you watch the combine, he had one of the best 40s of the group. He's twitched up, tuned up. He can rush the passer, but low level of competition, liability in the running game. I think, a lot of similar things that probably said about Turk Wharton coming out. That's the guy I'd be looking at where it's like, hey, I'll bet on a guy who's that athletic to bring me some juice to my pass rush.
I love it. Mike, I apologize that last question made you have to really dig deep there a little bit, but appreciate you taking the time.
That's what I do. I'm just more saying that, hey, I'm probably going to be dead wrong about this. It's hard to find that guy. If I could find it, I'd be a GM right now.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be much higher up on the totem pole for sure. Mike, appreciate you, man.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Take it easy.
Absolutely. That is Mike Renner, NFL draft analyst for CBS Sports, joining us. And it's nice to have somebody agreeing with me on the Caleb Downs thing. I've been very much on the Caleb Downs train. Like, if he's there at 9, I think he's the best player in this draft. The thing that concerns me is now that there's all this hoopla about his medicals might not be great. You're talking about he might have some sort of degenerative knee issue or something. Yeah, partially torn MCL, possible ACL issues. That makes me nervous, but it hasn't been widely reported by any of the bigger, more reputable sites like a CBS or an ESPN, The Athletic, or places like that. So I take it with a grain of salt. I still think that he can absolutely be a home run caliber player in this draft class. Here's something that I don't think is being talked about a lot right now, and we may see more of it as we get closer and closer to the draft in April. A lot of the conversation has been the Chiefs trading back in this draft, right? You have the 9th overall pick, and this is all before the McDuffie trade, I want to preface by saying. the 9th overall pick, maybe the Chiefs could trade back to 14 and pick up another second-round pick or a third-round pick, another one of those top 100 selections to try to add more depth to the roster. Now that this Chiefs team has 9, maybe even 10 picks in this draft, including 2 first-round picks, I think the possibility now exists that the Chiefs could trade up in this draft to try to acquire a bigger, better player for this team that's a better scheme fit. Whether that be trading up from 9, whether that be the Chiefs taking the 9th overall pick, maybe that 3rd round pick that they got from the Rams in the McDuffie deal, and another selection in there somewhere, and try to trade up to number 4 with the Tennessee Titans. Just throwing out a team name here. And giving themselves a shot at David Bailey or Reuben Bain. I think that's in the realm of possibility. I could see the Chiefs taking the 29th pick and packaging, as I said, maybe that 3rd round pick that they got from the Rams to try to trade up to 22 or 23 and put themselves in a position where they can take, say, a Caleb Banks out of Florida to help out on the interior of their defensive line. It's just something that I don't feel like has been tossed around enough since the McDuffie deal was made official. With all the capital that the Chiefs have now, after being pretty bare, you now have, I think, the latest I saw, they were given the 4th most capital of any team in this year's draft class, which is the most they've had since 2003. This could very much be a year where the Chiefs try to trade up to guarantee that they get the best player available at a position of need. It's been done before, right? This is a team that's done it before. They traded up to get Mahomes. They traded up to get McDuffie. They have a history of being aggressive in the NFL draft to go after the player that they want at the top of their board. This feels like a year where that could definitely be done.
I don't disagree conceptually. I think actually it was the Trent McDuffie year that the Chiefs moved up to go get McDuffie. Now, I don't think they made an earth-shattering move, but I remember on draft night, they did a little bit of movement to go get Trent McDuffie. So I don't think it's an outlandish thought. I guess the question becomes the who. Because let's say one of the edge rushers is gone at 2. I don't know which one. One of them is gone at 2. The Jets are taking an edge rusher. So let's just say Bailey, Bain, Reese, one of them's off the board at 2. The Commanders pick also, I believe, in the top 5. They might be just outside the top 5. So now you're looking at them as a target to trade up with, but they're a team that also, wait for it, needs edge. So I don't think they're making a move to move down to let you come up and get edge. So you'd have to find a team, maybe the Saints at 8, be willing to make a move. It's just, if you're making that move, you have to go up and get the edge rusher. The question becomes, with so many edge-needy teams ahead of you, we just had Mike Renner on, say 3 teams ahead of the Chiefs are edge-needy. That means 3 of the 8 picks ahead of you are targeting the same position you are. We know Mendoza's going 1. That basically gives you only a handful of candidates to make a move with. Do you have enough capital to wow them enough to go up and get the player ahead of the Commanders or the whomever to get the edge rusher you like? Because if the Chiefs are moving up, it has to be for edge rusher. It can't be move up and go get, I even like Cardinal Tate, but you can't be trading up for Cardinal Tate from 9. You can't be getting rid of all the draft capital to get a wide receiver unless you think he's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I don't think any of the guys in this draft class are a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. And looking at, right now, the latest, the mocks that I'm looking at, the Jets picking at number 2. They are in need of edge after they traded away everybody. This mock has them taking Arvell Reese. The Cardinals at 3 could use more edge rusher help, to play alongside Josh Sweat. They've got him taking David Bailey and then Reuben Bain going forward to the Titans. So that's the 3 edge rushers off the board before you even get to the Washington Commanders, which are another edge-needy team at number 7. So, yeah, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying it is within the realm of possibility and that this Chiefs team has done it before. I'm not saying that you trade away a first-round pick this year and a first-round pick next year. That makes absolutely no sense. It's just they have so much extra capital in those late day 2, early day 3 selections that maybe they can move up just a little bit to try to make something. But it has to be a guarantee. Like, you have to know when you make the move, okay, David Bailey is there. And while I think Ruben Bain is an incredibly productive player, there's only one edge rusher in this class that I would willingly trade up for, and that's David Bailey. Arvell Reese just doesn't fit the scheme.
I also think Bailey's gone
he's a 3-4 edge rusher.
Bailey's gone at 2, for what it's worth.
Him or Reese, right? They're going to go 2-3, I think. I have to imagine they'll go 2-3. It's just going to be a matter of who the Jets think is a better fit for them. I mean, David Bailey was already the best defensive end in this draft class, in my view. And then he went and just wowed at the combine, which just further solidified it. He was definitely a guaranteed top 10 pick, but he guaranteed himself a top 5 selection with the way he performed in Indy earlier this year. Go sign an edge rusher in free agency. Who's out there? That's the thing. Is there an edge rusher out there in free agency at a reasonable price point that's going to be a huge impact? You know, like earlier today, it was, the Packers are going to cut Rashad Gary. Well, now apparently that's not happening. He deleted the Instagram post. There's reports that he got hacked, and everybody's reporting that no move has been made yet. Those two things are still possible, but it's not an official move. Trey Hendrickson's going to be way too expensive, and I'm just not sure he's the right fit.
I also think, listen, there are definitely players the Chiefs could sign in free agency. I agree with that. Go sign an edge in free agency. I agree 100%. But the Chiefs need to be doing more than just one thing with edge. It needs to be Jalen Phillips, Owe, Cutie Pay, any of the names you think, plus a pick. The way the Chiefs are going to attack running back is how I want them to attack edge. And Nate Taylor, friend of the show, he wrote a piece on ESPN on the day that McDuffie was traded, saying the Chiefs are going to be targeting 2 positions with free agency, and that's, edge and running back. I think they need to be doing both. It should not be, hey, we signed, Boye Mafe. I'm just throwing a name to it. We signed Boye Mafe and we signed Kenneth Walker. They signed some Seahawks, and now we're good. Rinse our hands, done with running back, done with edge. Let's head to the draft and figure some other stuff out. I think they should be doing both at both those positions. So I am team sign an edge rusher and also draft another one. Maybe that means you may trade back and get Peter Woods or Kedrick Falk in the first round, in the mid round, in the mid first round from Auburn. I don't know, but their pass rush strategy cannot be we're taking one swing and that's how we know we nailed it.
Yeah, Boye Mafe I'd be fine with. Right?
He was my generic name. But I agree.
I would be fine with that. I just think that outside, and I'm seeing people in the text line already throwing out Trey Hendrickson's name, throwing out Odafe Owe's name, and Jalen Phillips. Folks, do we realize how expensive those guys are going to be? Like, Trey Hendrickson may get $25 million a year. Odafe Owe might get $20 million a year. Jalen Phillips might get somewhere between $18 and $20 million a year. That's damn expensive, folks. That's a lot of money to be shelled out at the edge rusher position when you may have to, you're going to have to address running back. There's reports that the Chiefs may look at signing a right tackle in free agency rather than going and drafting another one, somebody to compete with Jalen Moore and maybe follow behind him as the starter next season. I don't know. You may have to sign a safety in free agency if you don't think you can find a starter in the draft. What about the cornerback position? I don't know. It's somehow terrifying and exciting all at the same time with this Chiefs team because they have so many holes to fill, more so than I think we've ever seen since Mahomes took over as a starter, and seemingly a lot of capital to address all of those things. But in doing so, they could be serious hits or serious misses. And that's a terrifying yet super exciting thought to watch happen over the next couple of months. 913-586-7965. Somebody said it's time to shell out some money at the edge position. I don't disagree, man. I really don't disagree. Another person says, go get Mafe or Pay and draft Bain or Bailey at 9. You got to do both. There's no way they're there. I mean, that's the first thing. There's no way that Reuben Bain or David Bailey are sitting there still available on the draft board when the Chiefs get to 9 overall. Just no possible way. They're too talented of players to still be sitting there. I think if you want one of those two guys, you have to trade up. And that's the only reason I brought it up. I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I'm saying that it is a distinct possibility now that this team has added draft capital to go up in the draft and get a high-profile, highly productive player at the top end at maybe your biggest position of need right now. Logan Weber filling in for Carrington here on this Friday night or Friday afternoon edition of The Drive.
It's dark out. I get it.
It's getting there. You know, it's a little gloomy, no doubt about it. This severe weather that's coming our way. Not looking forward to that. Don't forget, coming up, this will be in the 4 o'clock hour. I said 3 o'clock hour earlier. We've got Sam Snelling of Rocky M Nation on with us as we are going to be talking Missou, Arkansas. That game tomorrow night should be a big one for the Tigers' NCAA tournament chances if they can win it. Stick around for that. But coming up, I'm sorry, we've got pimps in college basketball. Somebody needs to get to the bottom of this. We'll discuss that next here on The Drive, 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The greatest insult the Colonel ever suffered was being served a wrap that was just a snack by a friend. So he took 2 crispy tenders, lettuce, tomatoes, and pepper mayo, and wrapped them in a soft tortilla. It wasn't a snack, it was a meal. He called it a twister, and never called that friend again. The Colonel lived, so we could chicken. The Twister. Now back at KFC, classic or with bacon. Also try it spicy. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation may vary.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays. That's what I do. I love it a lot. Live betting and more. Earn BetMGM reward points on every single bet. Take advantage of offers found nowhere else, and keep an eye out for your rewards dropping in your account throughout the year. So again, sign up with bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsible. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. A tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. Got that Febreze car on the vents, living life with that just clean freshness. Febreze car, if you know, you know, up to 40 days a scent on low. My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. That's right, breathe happy Febreze, la 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 la
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy, guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve with TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers with age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour is brought to you by State Water Heater and Reeves Weideman, online at rwco.com. Need a water heater? State Water Heaters has the solution. The Adapt Gas Tankless Water Heater with X3 scale prevention delivers efficient, on-demand hot water with no annual maintenance and may qualify for money-saving utility rebates. Ask your plumber for State at Reeves Weideman. Visit rwco.com or statewaterheaters.com.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Southbound I-29 on the ramp from Berry Road, there's a crash and debris all over the roadway. Be prepared to stop. And there's a broken down car in the right lane, northbound 435 on the ramp to Eastwood Parkway. I'm Bill Brooks, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
You know, somebody in the text line just brought up a point that I think we can all get behind. Why is it that the one year that the Chiefs have a top 10 pick, like the first time in a decade the Chiefs have a top 10 pick, why is it the year that there's no quarterbacks in this draft? Like, why can't the Chiefs have the 9th overall pick in a year where there are 5 teams drafting ahead of them that are all going to go quarterback? Why does this have to be the worst draft class at quarterback in a decade, and that's the year that the Chiefs had the 9th overall pick? Sometime, you know, we've had a lot of luck go our way. We've had a lot of good bounces here in Kansas City as Chiefs fans since Mahomes took over as the starter. Apparently, the piper always comes for his collected pay eventually, and just happens to be this offseason with one quarterback presumably going to go in the first round, maybe Simpson if he can swing into the latter part of the first, but I won't hold my breath. Folks, this is maybe the wildest story of 2026 so far that I've read, at least in the sports world. Okay, I saw this. When did this come out? Last night, I want to say. I read this thing to completion, and the words that immediately came to mind cannot be said on the radio. Okay, the headline is that a California school hired a coach, but police say he moonlighted as a pimp. I'm sorry, what? The men's basketball program at Cal State University Bakersfield is being investigated because they hired an assistant coach by the name of Kevin Mays, who, according to police, was also working as a pimp in 4 states. Huh? No. This man was cross state lines pimp. Okay, this man was enterprising his pimp business. Apparently, it all came to fruition because of a tip that was sent to the athletic department in August of last year. The tipster said that the assistant coach had been working as a pimp. It was a woman who Mays allegedly had trafficked for several months. Oh, my God. What in the hell is happening? You have a college basketball coach who is pimping on the side. Listen, I can understand working 2 jobs in today's day and age, but that's not one that you can do. That's not a great second job selection, my man. He's obviously been let go from the program. He is being held without bail, facing 11 criminal and misdemeanor charges, including pimping, possession of automatic firearms, high-capacity magazines, possession of methamphetamine and marijuana with intent to sell. Oh, my God. What? And this guy was coaching college basketball at the same time this was all happening. Nobody noticed? There's no way that Gator from the other guys is just walking the sideline throwing out substitutions, right? Nobody noticed anything?
I do want to know what the
oh my God,
what the background check situation is at Cal State Bakersfield, because apparently they couldn't find any of this. They had no idea, and then the anonymous tip wasn't. It wasn't like yesterday they got an anonymous tip. They heard about it a while ago and had to do some real investigating. Like that. That is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean this happened in August.
Mm-hmm.
September of last year, the head coach and the AD both left the program. So I don't know why this story is suddenly making its hay now, because it seemed like Cal State Bakersfield got themselves away from this thing pretty quick. The end of August is when the tip comes in, and in September, the AD and the head basketball coach and this assistant basketball coach are all no longer associated with the university. Why did it take 6 months for this thing to hit the national side of things? The tipster in the email wrote in all caps, "Fix it or the whole staff will fall," adding that this is your first and final warning. Woof. Wow, man. Barnes was the head coach at Cal State Bakersfield for 14 years. And across those 14 years, went to an NCAA tournament as well as an NIT. They were conducting national-wide searches for replacements for both. Wow.
So he was at the NCAA tournament while working a side job as being a pimp?
No.
Which one was the side job, you think? Was it the coaching, or do you think it was the pimping?
So the crazy, here's the thing. The guy that's being charged, this Mays, was a player at Cal State Bakersfield. He played for Barnes at the university for this Roadrunners program and was then hired back in June of last year to be an assistant coach. His salary was just over $3,000 per month. So something tells me that...
That's a weird way to break down salary.
Like a stipend sort of a thing, I guess? I don't know.
It's weird you wouldn't say $36,000 a year, but I may not get paid in months where they don't play. Sorry, that was jarring to hear it said that way. It's very odd.
Yes. It came in, he was hired in June with a salary of just over $3,000 a month, according to school records. Played at the university from 2014 to 2016. He was planning on playing pro basketball in France or Italy, then joined the athletic department as a player development coordinator. The school conducted a criminal background check before May's appointment, but found no problems. Apparently he hit it pretty well, apparently. But dude, these are federal charges.
I imagine this search, because he was a player, wasn't as in-depth as it probably should have been.
I can't imagine it was. It's he played for me. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's a good kid.
There's
no way that he's an international pimp at this point. It turns out we were wrong. Bad beat there. What the hell? He had not been paid or reimbursed by the campus during his employment outside of his salary. No records of enterprise. I don't even know what in the hell is going on here. According to what I'm seeing here, it was just one woman that he was apparently pimping for.
I'm not saying that doesn't make it better to me.
No.
I'm just
Nope, and doing it across 4 states. I don't care how many employees you may or may not have out under you, bud. Time to go. This man is most certainly going to prison. And I mean, not just for the alleged pimping that he's being charged with. Apparently, this man also had automatic firearms, high-capacity magazines, and had enough meth and marijuana in his possession that they charged him with intent to sell. Wow. Stories you never thought you'd read on air. That's one of them. An assistant coach in college basketball is being charged with being a pimp. Oh, the news cycle is a fickle monster, I have to tell you. Somebody said, sounds like a great recruiter. I'm just going to let that one sit. I'm just going to let that one sit. 913-586-7965. Man, it's hard out here for a pimp. Dear God. Logan Weber filling in for C-Dot here on The Drive alongside Rob Britton. 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
On your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5, The Fan.
Southbound I-29 on the ramp from Berry Road, there's a crash and debris all over the roadway. Be prepared to stop. And there's a broken down car in the right lane, northbound 435 on the ramp to Eastwood Parkway. I'm Bill Brooks, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Thank you for a great 2025 and promise to continue giving you reason to shop at Shawnee Mission Ford in 2026. Great selection of new and used vehicles, large discount, top trade allowance, and mobile service when you need it. There's no reason to go anywhere else. Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more in 26.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now, FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. Maybe the early game, a rivalry game like this weekend, a ranked matchup, or you're up late on the West Coast. You mix spreads, total, props. Whatever fits your read of the slate, then apply your Profit Boost and instantly bump up your payout. So go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season, or go with your gut. It's parlay in your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. Got that Febreze car on the vents, living life with that just clean freshness. Febreze car, if you know, up to 40 days a cent on low. My car smells fresh, so fresh, always so fresh every day. My car smells fresh, so fresh, like I cleaned it yesterday. That's right, breathe happy Febreze, la 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 la.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Liberty Mutual customize this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Hey guys, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here, and I want to invite you out to the first ever Drive Pop-A-Shot tournament on Wednesday, March 18th at Draftcade up in the Northland. All you need to do is listen into the show to qualify on Monday, March 9th, and also on Tuesday, March 10th, and you could be taking home the title of Kansas City's Pop-A-Shot champion. Rob and I are going to be broadcasting from Draftcade starting at 2 o'clock, and the tournament gets going at 6:30. The Drive's first ever Pop-A-Shot tournament, Wednesday, March 18th. Your home for Kansas City sports, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Listen between 2 and 6 on Monday, March 9th and Tuesday, March 10th for your chance to qualify for the Drive's Pop-A-Shot Tournament. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Rob, I felt like we took the show off the rails there for a little bit with that last segment, talking about the pimp at Cal State Bakersfield, alleged pimp at Cal State Bakersfield. But, you know, the text line has me prepared to go off the rails again. A lot of quotes from the other guys. Will Ferrell's character, of course, who was a pimp at one point, Gator. Is The Other Guys a top 5 Will Ferrell movie? Is it a top 3 Will Ferrell movie?
No, it's very good. It's not top 5 or top 3.
Oh,
Thanks for asking.
I would say, what's in the top 5 that The Other Guys isn't?
Anchorman is a lock.
Fair.
Old School is a lock.
You're my boy, Blue.
What do you do with Wedding Crashers? Because he's in it, but he's not a star of it.
Yeah, he doesn't star in the movie, so I wouldn't throw that. That's a great point. Like, Wedding Crashers would not have come to mind.
Okay.
Like, to me, that's Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
I'm just curious because he's in it.
But you're right. If we're counting that as a Will Ferrell movie, then yeah, it probably belongs in the top 5. I would say Step Brothers belongs in the top 5.
Elf.
Yeah. Elf's got to belong.
It's not a traditional Will Ferrell movie, but it is, in fact, a top 5 Will Ferrell movie.
Okay. I would definitely say Elf. Mm-hmm. Definitely say Anchorman.
Old School.
Old School belongs in there. That's a fantastic movie.
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers belongs in there.
So that's 4 right off the jump.
Right. I would put The Other Guys in there.
I think Talladega Nights is better.
Ooh, I love me some Talladega Nights. That's one I'd struggle with.
And by the way, this is one who likes The Other Guys, but it's just I don't think it's in the same pantheon as those other ones.
Well, somebody in the text line brought up Stranger Than Fiction. That's a slept on Will Ferrell movie because he's not
He's not Will Ferrell.
He's not Will Ferrell. He's a much more, not, I want to say completely serious, but more serious than pretty much anything I've ever seen him in before or since. Esquire has The Lego Movie as the number 4 Will Ferrell movie of all time. Miss me with that.
I mean, that's a great movie. I don't know if you count that as his movie, but that, I guess.
Zoolander. I'm not
same concept.
I'm not a huge Zoolander guy. Is Wedding Crashers considered a Christopher Walken movie? So,
Yes. Probably.
Is it a Bradley Cooper movie? I feel like it's more of a Rachel McAdams movie than a Will Ferrell movie. Like, she's in it more.
I think it's more Bradley Cooper than Will Ferrell.
Yeah, also agree. Will Ferrell is majorly overrated. That's enough.
He just saturates the market. That's the problem.
He's so he's so good. He's hilarious in my view. Esquire has the other guys at number 8 on this list. It's got Old School at number 9. Everything Must Go, that's another really good one.
Again, he's not Will Ferrell on that one. He's a little bit different.
Right. He's done some bad ones, though. Some absolutely atrocious. Did you ever see Sherlock and Holmes?
I hear that might be the worst one.
Dude, it's so bad.
I have never seen that one.
Oh, that's a good one. Semi-Pro. What about Semi-Pro?
I love Semi-Pro. That might be the underrated one.
Yeah. Blades of Glory. It's prerogative. It gets the people going.
That had a
stupid movie.
That had a second life because of that Jay-Z and Kanye song.
Yes. Yeah, it did. It did.
Because I would have never guessed that line from that movie became such a pop culture moment.
Yeah, never thought that would end up being sampled in a Kanye Jay-Z song. But, hey, man, here we are anyway. All right. Tell me you guys have seen Get Hard. Yeah, I've seen Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell in it. Absolutely. Will Ferrell's humor aligns with middle school humor. Come on. Sometimes it's nice to have a stupid laugh. Like, Will Ferrell is the comedic king of just, this is so stupid, it's funny. And I have to say, I appreciate that a little bit. Night at the Roxbury, that's a good one just because of, like, the story, like, how it began, like, organically as, like, an SNL skit and then morphed itself into a feature-length movie. The Campaign. Will Ferrell's humor is mind-boggling, not mind-boggling. Yeah. It's about the right way to describe it. Kevin Hart sucks. What are we doing, folks? We just throwing out absolutely insane hot takes all of a sudden? Kevin Hart might be the best stand-up comedian alive today. I said might be. Don't get on my back about it. Let's get back to sports, okay? We've deviated away from this too. We've talked way too much about pimping and pimping adjacent things. Let's get back to the sports at hand. Earlier this week, Nate Taylor has reported he feels incredibly confident that Travis Kelce will be back. In fact, earlier this week, he was on Cody and Gold, and he talked about how the McDuffie trade could potentially impact Travis Kelce, his role on this team, and his decision on whether or not to come back.
Again, every indication I've gotten is that Travis Kelce is looking forward to coming back. When we'll know that for sure, that's really his prerogative, and I don't think it's really going to affect, I know some people are like, well, if he hasn't really signed before free agency starts, how does that affect free agency? I'm like, it really doesn't affect free agency. They can allocate that money however they want. Now, they might give him, and I've said this before, maybe a 2-year deal where you can, spread some of that money out and give a, pretty nice chunk of signing bonus to get that base salary, to be manageable for 2026. And hey, if you got to eat it in 2027, if he retires, you go ahead and eat it. He's giving you everything you could have asked for already. For Travis specifically, I don't know if this move really changes much, but he too understands, similar to Patrick Mahomes, similar to Chris Jones, we went through this already. We had to say goodbye to a pretty, I think, honestly, Hall of Fame player in Tyreek Hill, and it hurt. It was painful, but, the franchise made the right decision.
I'm right there with Nate. I'm very much of the opinion that he'll be back next year. Again, it's interesting how that's happened because November, December of this past season, it felt like it was over. Like when he had that interview with Tony Gonzalez before the Christmas Day game, that felt to me as conclusive an end as I've felt surrounding a player that hadn't retired yet. Just that whole conversation. But as the season progressed and it finally ended and we've gotten into the offseason, man, it's just felt like everything is pointing to him being back. And what his impact on the team will be on the field remains to be seen. I think regardless, they need to find the heir apparent. Somebody that can be potentially a backup to Travis this year, or maybe a spot starter next to Travis this year, and then take over the duties as the starting tight end of this Chiefs team beginning next season. Because I really think if Trav comes back, which I believe he will, this is it. This is done after this year. And I'm sorry, I know that the Chiefs love Noah Gray as a player. There's absolutely no chance that Noah Gray can be your starter at tight end moving forward. Not with the struggles he had last year. Not with the drops. Not with the lack of execution. I just don't think he's that guy. And so finding who is going to be the guy to take over the reins when Travis ultimately calls it a career that's not a question, because it has to happen this year.
Here's my thing. I don't disagree with you on a 10,000-foot level. The Chiefs need an heir apparent to Travis Kelce. Even with him coming back this year, they do not have a long-term plan at tight end. But here's my thing. The Chiefs have a lot of holes this offseason. Like, I think a lot more than the average fan leads on. They need a receiver, maybe 2. They need a running back, maybe 2. They need maybe a right tackle. They need a defensive tackle. They need an edge rusher, maybe 2. They need a linebacker, again, maybe 2. They need a safety, and they might need 2 corners. I named a lot of needs, and I haven't mentioned tight end yet. So I agree with you. Heir apparent is needed. But in an offseason where you have a ton of things to do, if I'm Brett Veach, and I think if Nate Taylor is hearing that Travis Kelce is coming back, no disrespect to Nate, then I'm betting Brett Veach is hearing a very similar thing. If I'm Brett Veach, I'm just going to ride with Noah Gray, Travis Kelce one last time and worry about a full-time plan when it's time to worry about a full-time plan. Because whether it's the draft or free agency, if you are allotting resources, whether it be draft capital or cap capital, to a backup tight end in a year where you have more pressing and more expensive needs, I don't think that's a great job by Brett Veach. So I think Noah Gray's imperfect. You think Noah Gray's imperfect. I think most people would say Noah Gray's imperfect as a full-time starting tight end, but he's fine as a backup, and I'm not getting rid of pick 40 or 120 whatever chasing tight end when I know that, I really need another corner.
Right.
I really need another safety. You know what this team needs less of? Mike Edwards on the field. So they need another they need things, and I don't know that you can afford the luxury of drafting backup tight end. They tried that in the past at luxury picks with Jared Wiley, and it missed. I don't think you can be taking a luxury pick at a backup position right now.
And you're right. I just also think you can't afford to just rock with somebody brand new next year. I prefer the idea of bringing somebody in for a year, somebody that can learn the system either behind or next to Travis Kelce before ultimately having to take on the full weight and responsibility that comes with playing that position in Andy's offense, catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. Obviously there are guys who can do it. There's talented players galore at the tight end position in today's NFL that could come in year one and take over as the starting tight end when Travis ultimately decides to go. I am of the opinion that I would prefer to see somebody come in for a year, work with the best tight end in the history of football, and build upon that when the title is ultimately theirs the following year. Then you factor in the Noah Gray thing. Are the Chiefs really willing to entertain that idea and keep Noah Gray around as, at that point, then an extremely overpaid number 3 tight end. You're right. I would love to see the Chiefs attack the tight end position. But I am with you 100% that you can't address the tight end position by sacrificing the needs you have at cornerback or safety or running back or even wide receiver for that matter. You're right. Tight end becomes a need whether Travis Kelce's back in a Chiefs uniform or not. Many of us believe he will be, but it's less of a need than other position groups. I'm just looking at it from a glass half full perspective of the Chiefs can accomplish everything they want to accomplish with the cap space that they can maneuver around and the amount of draft capital they have, that if you can use a 3rd or a 4th round pick on the kid out of Ohio State or that tight end from Michigan as somebody who could come in, sit for behind Travis for a year, guys that sort of fit a little bit of what he does on the field, and then hit the ground running in year 2. With a year of playing behind Travis Kelce under their belt. I find that incredibly intriguing. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up, including Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation. He'll be joining us at 4:45. Logan Weber filling in for CDOT alongside Rob Britton here on The Drive, 96.5, The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on Kansas City's only FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great. Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a staff accountant at the height of tax season.
Congrats, looks like the company owes, $50 in taxes. How about that?
That seems low. Why only 50?
Why do you care so much? It's not your money.
This is a job for Sponsored Jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Southbound I-29 on the ramp from Berry Road, there's a crash and debris all over the roadway. Be prepared to stop. And there's a broken down car in the right lane, northbound 435 on the ramp to Eastwood Parkway. I'm Bill Brooks, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Rob, I want to talk about Kenneth Walker here in just a minute, but the people in the text line are bringing up Jared Wiley. We're talking about finding an heir apparent to Travis Kelce. I mean, I'll speak for myself first. I have no real belief in Jared Wiley at this point. He hasn't proven it, you know, and people who say, well, he's been buried on the depth chart. Yeah, I think there's a reason for that. If the Chiefs would have had real belief in him, he would have been the tight end 3 last year. They apparently didn't because they went and signed Robert Tonyan to be the tight end 3. He's been buried on the depth chart for a reason. And while I know he hasn't gotten ample opportunity, some of that may be because he hasn't earned it. He just hasn't been good enough yet. Do you have any faith whatsoever that Jared Wiley could morph himself into being the guy that follows Travis Kelce as this team's starting tight end?
No, I have none. And that's, I see a lot of people in the text line, it's not just the one, saying that he's built very similar. That's great.
Agreed.
A lot of players are built similar to other players. That does not equal production. Like, you'll remember, everyone was saying McCole Hardman's going to be Tyreek Hill 2.0. They are built similar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. How many times have we heard, like, remember at Notre Dame, use a tight end analogy. They had Michael Mayer, the tight end at Notre Dame. He got drafted by the Raiders. Everyone was calling him Baby Gronk. Oh, he wore 87. He acted like Gronk at Notre Dame. It was Baby Gronk. Michael Mayer is not nearly as productive as Rob Gronkowski was, which I know is a kind of a duh comment. So, like, at a certain point, the physical tools looking the same as the Hall of Famer physical tools have to end up with production. And just because Jared Wiley and Travis Kelce stand next to each other eye to eye at the same weight with similar speed does not mean they are similar level players. So I don't believe Jared Wiley's a thing. I think he's going into his third year this year. He'll be done after 4 years in Kansas City, and he'll be practice squatting somewhere else. So I'd love to be proven wrong, but it doesn't feel like he's ever going to be a thing. If he was, I think he would have done it by now.
Yeah, and that's, somebody in the text line brings up a good point, and this is maybe the best way for me to phrase this. We need to stop collectively, and this is not just talking about Travis Kelce, okay? This is anybody, anywhere in sports that's a fan of anybody or any team. When you have a player that is on their way out, we as sports fans and as people who follow sports religiously, We have a tendency to try to find the next guy who's like that guy. It's just not how it works. We can't be looking to replace Travis Kelce by trying to find the next Travis Kelce or trying to find the guy who plays exactly or runs exactly like Travis Kelce. Find a guy who you believe can match the level of production that Travis Kelce put forward. I don't know if we'll ever see another tight end that plays the position the way that Travis has, that can have the kind of relationship with Mahomes that Travis Kelce has. That he may not even half the plays in the playbook, he doesn't have a route. It's just, hey, you're running this, you're running this, you're running this, and Trav, just find an open area. Just do your thing, and Mahomes will find you. Okay? It's going to be impossible to replicate that, impossible to replace that. Find somebody with good measurables, that has good athleticism, that can catch the football reliably, maybe block a little bit. Stop trying to replace Travis Kelce with somebody like Travis Kelce, and instead just look for somebody that can try to put up the caliber of numbers that Travis could put up, which is also a damn near impossible task to put forward, okay? Let's face it. In my opinion, he's the greatest tight end of all time. It's a tall task to try to ask somebody to be the next Travis Kelce, because there may never be another one as long as this game exists.
Doesn't mean you can't find productive players. Just
right.
Chasing, hey, the measurables are the same as player X does not always mean you're going to get the same player.
Michael Mayer is a good example, too. Yeah, because he was a hot commodity coming out. And
I mean, he didn't finish rookie contract, and the Raiders said we need a better tight end.
He didn't even enter year 2. Like, he'd coming off his rookie year, and the Raiders are like, we're going to take Brock Bowers in the top 10.
The Raiders saw him and said we need his baldness.
Okay, didn't you just draft a tight end like in the second round last year? And now you're okay, whatever. And hey, obviously Brock Bowers is a much better player than Michael Mayer so far throughout their careers. But getting back to a topic we discussed earlier in the show, I have long been an advocate of Kenneth Walker to the Kansas City Chiefs. And Rob and I are on opposite sides of this discussion. I love his fit. He as a zone blocker, he's somebody who runs with patience. He allows for things to develop. His ball carrier vision is a head and shoulders improvement over Isaiah Pacheco. He's not the most outstanding pass catcher out of the backfield, but he can do some. He can do a little bit catching the ball out of the backfield. He's not a guy that's going to catch 60 passes a year, but catch around 40. That's about what he averages throughout his career. 40 catches out of the backfield, another 300 or so yards, maybe a touchdown or two. But I could, honest to God, I could care less about his ability to catch the football. I care about his ability to run the football, because the Chiefs haven't had a running back that struck fear into anybody since Kareem Hunt was let go from the team the first time around in 2018. They need that again. They need somebody that will keep teams honest in the play action game. Somebody that will legitimately force defenses to play a base defense, keeping 7 guys in the box, maybe pulling down a safety and putting 8 guys in the box, and giving your wide receivers and your tight ends a little bit more freedom. I love Kenneth Walker as a fit, and I know there's people out here who say Travis Etienne. I would be perfectly fine with Travis Etienne too, especially if he's a cheaper option than Kenneth Walker. It's just been interesting to me how this whole Kenneth Walker thing has been reported on this week. Like earlier in the week, Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports said, the Chiefs are looking for a running back in the $8 million a year range, meaning they are out on Kenneth Walker. And then in the last 24 hours, I've seen 3 different reports, including from Ricky Scoops. Dude, I can remember dogging on that guy, no pun intended, on Ricky Scoops last year with all the reporting that he did. And then like the George Karlaftis thing. And then he was dead on about the Chiefs extending George Karlaftis. Like, he's right a whole lot more than he's wrong. And he's saying that the Chiefs are the prohibitive favorite to land Kenneth Walker right now. Sports media in general is fascinating. And that's why, like, earlier in the week, I was like, well, okay, I guess the Chiefs aren't going to get Kenneth Walker. But when I see 3 reports that say that they are in the middle of getting, they're in the middle, they're in the race, they're maybe even the favorite to land KW, and then you look at this one report that says they aren't, I'm bought in. I like Kenneth Walker as a fit, and the way that the reports are going right now, I think the Chiefs are in a good spot.
Here's my thing with Kenneth Walker. And me and you disagree on this, and that's fine. I think conceptually, here's my concern, is that the Chiefs had a massive problem last year at running back. I don't think anyone disagrees. I could pull stat on stat on stat on stat. We could do a whole show of bad running back stats. We really could. They had, 3 20-plus yard runs last year? Just astonishing lack of production from running back in 2025. But just because you got 0 from the running back last year doesn't mean your solution has to be in 100. You can get better without going to the nth degree. You can say, hey, we had a 0 last year, but now instead of paying the premium for Kenneth Walker because he's the best, you can do something in the middle. Just because it was the worst doesn't mean to solve it with the best. You have a middle ground. And I'm worried that the Chiefs playing a running back based on, and it's a crazy sentence to say, based on Ricky Scoop's thought process here, is the Chiefs were like, we're a 0, let's buy at the 100. Get a 50, get a 25, get a 65. Everything available is better to you. You don't have to spend the premium to get the best. That's an overreaction to fixing the problem. Anything in the middle is a solution. As long as you're not a 0 again, you are better. It doesn't have to be this wild pivot. And one of the fears I have about this is, historically, when Brett Veach has a bad thing, it is all in. We're doing everything we can to fix it. And that has worked sometimes, but I worry that positional value is not going to be a problem because in the past, he had to fix a whole defense. He had to fix a whole O-line. Now you have to fix a running back. You can still be smart about how you do it. It doesn't have to be all in. It's not a zero-sum game.
That's fair. And I can get behind, this team going from 0 to 100. Frankly, I don't think Kenneth Walker is 100. Now, and
he's the best available free agent.
That's fair.
You're right. You can't get Saquon Barkley, but he's the best available free agent, so I would call that the 100. Like,
if you're talking about, this team being at a 0, that being on the shoulder or off the road, 100 is a complete course correction, right? That is overkill. You've crossed the median. You're now driving in oncoming traffic. I feel like Kenneth Walker is somewhere in that in-between area. It's entirely going to be because of the price point. If he's going to get $14 million a year, no shot. As much as I like Kenneth Walker, no shot. And somebody said I'm blinded by his Super Bowl performance. I was talking about Kenneth Walker 3 months ago. Before the playoffs even started, I said Kenneth Walker would be a great fit for this Chiefs team. If it's 4 for 56 for Kenneth Walker, absolutely not. When you can get Travis Etienne on, say, 3 for 30 or 4 for 40. What has KW done to command so much money? He had a good game on the biggest stage, but was a committee back up until then. You're right. He was in a running back by committee the last couple of years alongside Zach Charbonnet.
Which is crazy because of his usage, that he's a committee back. Like, I don't disagree with the texter. He gets a lot of carries for a guy who's in a committee. He had more carries last year than Pacheco or Hunt. Like, it was 240 to 1-something with Charbonnet. That's a lot of usage.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker had 221 carries last year. He's got 820 over his 4-year career, and that includes in 24 when he missed 6 games. He's got 2,000-yard seasons in his career. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry for his career. He's a patient runner. And here we go. Back to the conversation. Somebody in the text line says he can't catch. That's my worry. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt couldn't catch a damn ball either. Kenneth Walker's a better pass catcher than those two. So you're improving yourself there. Travis Etienne's pass catching numbers aren't that much better than Kenneth Walker's, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. He's a patient runner, coming from a zone blocking scheme during his time in college at Michigan State and his time with the Seahawks. Somebody says that's like saying Jahmyr Gibbs is in a running back by committee. Yeah, fair. One thing,
I mean, technically he was. Like, if you ask, not that there's a lot of Lions fans walking around. If you ask Lions fans, they're frustrated, and fantasy owners are frustrated. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get more carries. Like,
they don't have to worry about that now.
Technically correct. Just because both sides of the committee work doesn't mean it's not a committee. The Chiefs had a committee last year. It was just all sorts of words you can't say on the radio.
That committee was abysmal, to say the least, compared to what the Lions had. Not that Jahmyr Gibbs will have to worry about that anymore, because David Montgomery is now no longer a member of the Detroit Lions. So at least they can move on from that. One thing, somebody in the text line, I got 785 here, says, one thing that I think is getting lost in the running back debate is, will Andy Reid run the ball enough to justify paying a premium free agent? The numbers say yes. I mean, we sit here and say, like, Andy never runs the football. He does run the football. I mean, you look at Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt ran the ball a lot last year, almost 17 times a game between the two of them. The Chiefs are never going to be an offense that runs the ball 35 times. They're just not. But if you can run the ball 25 to 30 times a game, maybe, if you're giving Kenneth Walker 18 to 20 carries, if you're giving a backup running back 6 to 8 carries, that's more or less along the same lines of where the Chiefs have been. If the Chiefs would have had a feature back, if Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco had been solid last year, one of those guys would have had 220 plus carries. But neither one of them was any good. Somebody in the text line says a lot of miles on KW. A lot of miles on Travis Etienne Jr. too. If you're looking for a running back that doesn't have a lot of miles on him, you're going to have to go to that second tier. You're going to have to go to a Tyler Algier. You're going to have to go to a Rico Dowdle or a Kenneth Gainwell. Somebody with less mileage, for sure, less wear and tear on the tires, but less productivity at the same time.
For what it's worth, I have been advocating. You've been advocating for KW. I've been advocating for a tier 2 guy plus a draft pick. That's been my game plan. I don't know it's perfect, but my game plan has always been Tyler Algier for a name, Kenneth Gainwell, Rico Dowdle, and then you draft Emmett Johnson or Nick Singleton. And I think you are better at running back. Are you the best you can be? Probably not. But I don't think this offense needs Saquon in his prime to be great. I think this offense just needs capable running back play, because we are not that far removed from the Chiefs being a Super Bowl champion with Pacheco, being in the Super Bowl with the corpse of Kareem Hunt, being a Super Bowl champion with Damian Williams. Like, during the Patrick Mahomes era, outside of that 11-game run with Kareem Hunt before he got kicked off the team, it has historically been dudes that aren't huge names, and they make it work. So if you have Dowdle and Singleton, the draft pick from Penn State, I don't think that's a bad system. So I'm cool with a tier 2 running back. I don't think they have to go tier 1 to fix the problem.
Yeah, then it just becomes a matter of you're looking for running back by committee rather than a feature back in your system, which makes me a little bit nervous, because that's what the Chiefs have done since Kareem Hunt left the team in 2018. It's been running back by committee, and that goes hot and cold quite a bit of the time. Somebody in the text line says they're not going to run the ball 20 to 25 times a game. I don't know why what makes you say they wouldn't? The Chiefs had 430 rushing attempts last year in a 17-game season. That's an average of 25 times a game. The numbers say they do. Hey, guys, you need to do your homework. You do realize that yards per carry, the Chiefs had more yards per carry than Seattle did.
What?
That's the exact same response that I had. Let's look here. Looking at yards per carry. Yeah. technically he's right. Seattle as a team had 4.1 yards per carry. The Chiefs had 4.2. Okay. That's a little bit disingenuous considering the fact that Patrick Mahomes averaged 6.5 yards a carry last year on 64 attempts. He buoyed that team's yards per attempt. Kareem Hunt averaged 3.7 yards per carry. Isaiah Pacheco averaged 3.9. Kenneth Walker averaged 4.6. Over half a yard per carry better. On a higher volume, I might add. So, what you're saying is that the Chiefs might have a better offensive line than the Seattle Seahawks did last year. So who's to say Kenneth Walker can't come into Kansas City and potentially push to be a 5 yards a carry guy? Somebody in the text line also raises the point of Patrick Mahomes is coming off of a very serious knee injury right now. Andy Reid might be willing to run the football just a little bit more. Maybe take a little bit of pressure off the guy that's coming back from a major knee surgery. I still believe that they will run the football. Andy Reid has shown a willingness to run the football throughout his career if he has the right horse or horses. They haven't had the right horses for 5 years. You have an opportunity this offseason, whether it's via the draft or via free agency, to correct that problem for years to come. And it needs to happen. I tend to lean towards, I think Kenneth Walker would be the most exciting and productive fit for this team. Maybe not the highest potential, right? I mean, the highest ceiling is a guy like a Jeremiah Love, but you can't sit there and wait on the hope that he'll be there for you at number 9. 913-586-7965. Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation joins us next to talk about Mizzou's big-time matchup against Arkansas tomorrow and where their NCAA tournament chances stand as of right now. That's next, so stick around with us. Logan Weber filling in for Carrington alongside Rob Britton producing the show, doing a great job as always. The Drive, 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings each and every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout. Whatever you like. You can mix spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then you go apply your profit boost and instantly boost up that potential payout. You can play it safe. You can go spicy. You can go with the team that you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside than ever before with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. Remember, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook app. Play your way. It's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable boost builder tokens, which can apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Jacob, your friend and an actual jeweler at Chain Company. I'm proud to work for a family business that's been committed to the highest quality standards for nearly 100 years. Your dream engagement ring is designed for quality every step of the way. We set your diamond by hand, never with machines. Prong tips are beautiful and secure, and intricate details are thoughtfully crafted. At Shane Company, there's no shortcuts, just craftsmanship, because a friend knows true love deserves the highest quality. Visit us in store or at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-428-5757. 800-428-5757. That's 800-428-5757.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge, and Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Multi-car crash headed down to Belton, 49 southbound. It's at 155th, blocking the right lane up near Gladstone. That's a crash, 152 highway eastbound. It's the on-ramp from Indiana Avenue. You will tap your brakes. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
We spoke earlier with Nick Springer of the Payheed podcast about tomorrow's KU-K-State matchup and the implications for the Jayhawks entering the Big 12 tournament and ultimately the NCAA tournament. Well, across the other side of the state line in Columbia, another matchup with huge NCAA tournament implications on the line. The Missouri Tigers hosting the 20th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks, and on the line with us right now to discuss it is Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation. And Sam, some good news for Mizzou fans earlier today. Reports are that Arkansas's leading scorer, Darius Acuff Jr., is not going to be playing tomorrow night. How do you think that impacts both negatively and positively Mizzou's chances of upsetting the Razorbacks? Oh, Sam, can you hear us?
Oh, yep, here.
Okay, there we go.
I think
all right,
I had the phone on mute. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Yeah, I think you take the best player off of any team, especially when it's a guy who's, a lottery pick like Acuff is going to be in a few months here, and it's going to have adverse effects on the game, right? So for Missouri, it's great news if you're just concerned about getting the win. I think even with Acuff on the roster, that was a game that was shaping up to sort of possibly tilt in Missouri's favor, but I think you probably go to, from more of like a toss-up close game to sort of expecting to win that one, and from, the Arkansas side, like I saw the news and I was like, this makes total sense because if like Acuff's been kind of nursing a bit of an ankle issue for, the last several weeks, and this game for Arkansas doesn't really matter. They've already got to the 12-win mark. They're going to have a double bye in the SEC tournament. So winning or losing this game really doesn't gain them much. Get your best player as healthy as he can be kind of going into the SEC tournament. And and into the NCAA tournament, which, is vastly more important than, whether or not you win at Missouri.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, it's interesting to see just how the line has shifted. It opened at 3.5 in Arkansas's favor, but it's now sitting at -1.5 for the Tigers in this game. And, Missou's sitting at 20-10 right now. The latest bracketology from Joe Lunardi of ESPN has Missou in the last 4 buys category of the NCAA tournament. Does a loss tonight, in your opinion, knock Missou out of the NCAA tournament? And does a win tonight make them a complete and utter lock?
I would say no to the first part. I don't think all of this kind of depends on what everybody else does. But teams in and around the bubble tend to fluctuate a lot, and certainly in Missouri's case, if they were to lose this game, I don't think it would knock them out. It might put them in danger of going to Dayton, but I think it probably drops them from the top 10 seed line to the bottom 10 seed line. So maybe they get a slightly less favorable matchup. But to me, the main thing is they just really need to win one more game to kind of secure and feel good about their odds. If you lose to Arkansas and you go to the SEC tournament, and there's so if you lose to Arkansas, then you're not in the double bye. You're playing on Thursday night, and you play somebody that's upset at like an Ole Miss or Mississippi State comes and beats you, or a team that has been terrible all year, has a poor net rating, and gives you a quad 2 or quad 3 loss. It's going to look a lot worse than if you go there and you beat that same team, and then you go on and lose the next round and take a quad 1 loss. So I think as long as they avoid losing 2 games, with one of those games being to somebody pretty terrible out of the SEC, then they're probably feeling okay. But even if they took 2 losses, I still think they're probably most likely in, as long as there aren't a host of bid thieves.
And not just from the perspective of winning this game against Arkansas and getting to that 21-win plateau in the regular season. This is also a huge opportunity for Missou to bounce back from what was a pretty embarrassing loss over the weekend or earlier this week to Oklahoma. What can you tell us about the game? What went wrong, and what has to go right tomorrow night to beat the Razorbacks?
Well, for the Tigers, I really think they were playing well. The last couple of weeks, they played well against South Carolina and Texas A&M and Vanderbilt. But they also had a stinker against Texas, and then they played well at Arkansas but didn't get the win. They played well again against Tennessee, played well against Mississippi State, and then they went on the road and had a stinker. And I think people look at Oklahoma's record for one and look at them as kind of like a poor team, because they're right around 500 or something like that. But they'd also won 4 of the last 6 games. They'd beaten good teams, especially at home. They beat Vanderbilt, they beat Georgia. They beat NCAA tournament teams, and they were competitive in some losses to other NCAA tournament teams. So this has always kind of been a game like that trip to Norman for Missouri over the years, and this even goes back to the Big 8 and Big 12 days. That's always been a tricky game. And so I chalk this up more as Missouri was kind of due for a stinker. Like I said, bubble teams kind of tend to be a little bit erratic, and they had been playing really well for a while. It doesn't necessarily mean they figured out. They just kind of had a good run, and they were kind of due for a bad game. But I do think this is a situation that allows them to kind of bounce back. They're familiar with Arkansas. They get the return game at home. They've also had a bit of a poor record in those home and homes where they have to kind of follow up. And the second game is on the road, but they've been way better at coming back in those home and home games. So I think this is a situation where if you look at the matchup, you look at the fact Acuff's out, you look at the fact that Missouri played poorly their last outing, that it should shape up for them to kind of have a much better performance in the home wrap up.
Looking at tomorrow night's game against Arkansas, I obviously the answer would probably be Mark Mitchell, but if you had to look beyond that on this Mizzou roster, who is that player or two that has to have a big night in order for Mizzou to get things back on track and beat Arkansas before heading to the SEC tournament next week?
Well, I think, Trent Pierce is one of those guys that is kind of quietly can give you 20 points, just by hitting, 2 or 3 3-pointers and being good around the rim. He's really important. With Acuff out, it'll be interesting to see if T.O. Barrett can kind of get going. He's been really, really tough, particularly at home and driving teams and getting to the rim. But the guy that I'm going to be paying most attention to is Jaden Stone. Stone's had a really bit of a rough patch the last 4 or 5 games. And he was really, really important to kind of what started their turnaround in early January. A guy who can hit outside shots, a guy who can be a late, shot clock guy and get mid-range jumpers off and get to the free throw line. And he's really kind of gotten away from a lot of that. So, if he can find a way to kind of get back into a groove, then I think it also sets Missouri up a lot better for the SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament, to have, an important kind of secondary scorer. But I still think the offense is going to funnel through Mark Mitchell. But if you can get Stone and you can get Pierce going, then I think it's going to take pressure off, a guy like T.O., who can be kind of hit or miss. And so I think you want the guys with a little bit more experience to kind of show up.
And looking at this game, you mentioned the SEC tournament. The opportunity is still there, right? You'd need some help beyond it, but a win against Arkansas and a few other things go right. Mizzou still has an outside shot at a double bye in the SEC tournament. If that comes to fruition, if Mizzou ends up being the top 4, top 5 team in this conference, what kind of confidence can that give them going into the SEC tournament next week? And then ultimately, like we were talking about, into the NCAA tournament where you're likely sitting along that 8 or 9 seed line.
Well, so the only thing they need is for Vanderbilt to beat Tennessee. Now that game is at Tennessee, but that's still a reasonable expectation that Vanderbilt could beat Tennessee. And there's also Nate Ament, who's dealing with a high ankle sprain and may not play as well. So, the possibility for Missouri getting the double bye is pretty high if you kind of take into account that Acuff's not going to play and Ament is probably not going to play. So that's really pretty fortunate for the Tigers if those breaks kind of go that way. But you still got to win the game, and you still need Vanderbilt to win at Tennessee, which is no small task. But I think that, the biggest thing that you get out of that is you're going to get another night's rest. And one of the things that I think is underrated this time of year is the amount of days that you get to rest. If you look at Missouri, really since the start of conference play, they've shrunk their rotation down from about 10 or 11 guys that they were playing in the non-conference slate, down to, 7. And now that Trent Burns has kind of come on, they will go to 8, but they stick pretty hard to that 8-man rotation. And so having another night, anytime Missouri has had 3 nights rest, the record is wildly better than, if they've had, 2 days or less. So that Saturday, Tuesday turnaround versus the Saturday, Wednesday turnaround.
Could be
and
a
so
big
having
night.
even more. Yeah. So having even more rest, they beat Florida. They were coming off 11 days rest. They went into South Carolina and beat them badly. They were coming off 6 days rest. So if you look at the amount of time that they would get off and get, sort of straightened out and healthy and get guys, kind of maybe nursing a few, bumps and bruises, you get those guys feeling a lot better than Missouri's kind of shown that they're gonna play better. And some of their best, so anybody who follows Torbeck.com knows that there's a game score assigned to each game, and 3 of Missouri's highest game scores on the year have all come after extensive rest. So I would think that if you can get to that double bye, it means you're not playing until Friday. It's almost a full week of rest, and then you have to feel pretty good about winning that first game, and then you're playing in the semifinals. So it's one of those things where it'll look good, it'll make a lot of fans feel better, but the most important thing is going to get guys rest.
Yeah, this could be a game that a win against Arkansas is a lot more than just that, a win against Arkansas. I know it's a rival, but it's a top 25 win. It's a resume builder. and you've got the outside shot at a double bye in the SEC tournament. Sam, appreciate you taking the time this afternoon, and we're looking forward to a big one tomorrow night at Missou Arena.
Hi, Logan. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. That is Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation joining us to discuss tomorrow night's Mizzou-Arkansas game. And with Darius Acuff Jr. not playing for the Razorbacks, the door is wide open for the Tigers to get their 21st win so far this season. 913-586-7965. Logan Weber filling in for C-Dot alongside Rob Britton. Stick around with us. We got the hits coming up next here on The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
Multi-car crash headed down to Belton, 49 southbound. It's at 155th, blocking the right lane up near Gladstone. That's a crash, 152 highway eastbound. It's the on-ramp from Indiana Avenue. You will tap your brakes. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Thank you for a great 2025 and promise to continue giving you reason to shop at Shawnee Mission Ford in 2026. Great selection of new and used vehicles, large discount, top trade allowance, and mobile service when you need it. There's no reason to go anywhere else. Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more in 26.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep, now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 Unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121. DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. Cause 30 told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust an Emu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, And I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called him. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100. And I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Burns' season preview show is Thursday, March 12th, starting at 6 o'clock, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Seems like a mixed reaction today to my views on Kenneth Walker to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's fair. Number one, there's plenty of options out there that would be absolutely obvious improvements over what the Chiefs had at running back this past season. I just can't get away from, I think Kenneth Walker is the best fit. And before somebody inevitably here in the 5 o'clock hour accuses me of being blinded by the way he performed in the Super Bowl, I've been saying this since December. Here's something that really stands out to me. Just listen to these numbers, okay? I know that stats aren't the end-all be-all. I'll be the first to say that, okay? I am a bit of a numbers guy, but I like to pair the two. I need to see production as well as what your stats are telling people. Okay, this comes from Next Gen Stats. The Chiefs had 22 carries of 10-plus yards last year. The entirety of the team, 22 carries, or just the running backs, I should say, had 22 carries of 10 or more. Kenneth Walker alone had 33. Chiefs running backs last year had carries where they reached 15-plus miles per hour 24 times. Kenneth Walker, 67 times. Carries of 20 or more yards, Chiefs running backs none, Kenneth Walker 2 of them. Here's the biggest thing. And I talked about this earlier, that the Chiefs need a running back that is going to keep defenses honest, that is going to force them to put 7-8 guys in the box and play the running game with a little bit of fear in their hearts. The Kansas City Chiefs last year saw a light box, meaning that the defense had 6 or fewer players in the box 47.4% of their snaps. Almost half the time the Chiefs ran an offensive play, there were 6 or fewer players inside the box. The Seattle Seahawks, 26.4%. Kenneth Walker is a running back in this league that will force defenses to pay attention to what your ground game does. You can't put 6 guys in the box against Kenneth Walker with that Chiefs offense. I'm telling you, dude, I think Kenneth Walker is the best fit. Does he catch the ball well? No, I really don't care. I want a running back that can run the football. If he can catch, fine. If he can pass block, fine. But I want a guy that I know can run the football. I've seen enough of Kenneth Walker. He's got tremendous ball carrier vision. He's a patient runner. He comes from a zone blocking scheme, and the numbers tell you that the defense fears his ability. If he costs you $14 million a year, then it's a no. Okay? I hear that number being thrown around. It's a no. $12 million a year? I could listen to it. That puts him in that middle range. That puts him in that second tier of NFL running backs, which I believe is where he squarely lies right now. He's not worth $14 million a year. He should not be getting Jonathan Taylor or even Breece Hall money. $12 million puts him right in line with like a Josh Jacobs. And I think that's a fair place to put him. And I would have no problem with the Chiefs paying him $12 million a year. 3 for 36, 4 for 48, I am more than cool with. But if it's going to cost you 4 for $56 million to bring Kenneth Walker to Kansas City when you can get Travis Etienne for 3 for 30, okay, you go get Travis Etienne. I want a 3-down running back who can run the football. Somebody that you can give it to on 1st and 10 that'll get you 5, and somebody on 3rd and 2 you can give it to who will get you 3. Kenneth Walker does both of those things. That's what I'm looking for. Please, please, please let it be Kenneth Walker. Go get him. You find a running back late day 2 with that 3rd-round pick maybe. I think you're rocking and rolling. You want a pass catcher out of the backfield? Throw Brashard Smith out there for a 3rd and long. Whatever. Maybe one of these rookies can go. I don't know. Rob, I know that you're more of the find a running back in that tier 2 group and then draft a running back. I don't feel like that does enough. Not with Mahomes coming off an ACL tear. I don't feel like in doing that, in going and getting a Kenneth Walker, you're sacrificing your ability to find an edge rusher in free agency, to find a cornerback in free agency, to find a safety in free agency if you want to. You've got 9, maybe even 10 picks in this draft, including as many as, what do they got right now? 5 picks inside the top 100 right now? 4 picks inside the top 100? You could very much find 3 or 4 starters in this draft, at least. I trust Brett Veach to go and do that. I don't think signing Kenneth Walker, who's, yes, going to be a more expensive option than any of the other running backs available, is going to discourage you from doing that. And for the people that are saying, well, if the Chiefs go get Kenneth Walker, then that means they're out on Jeremiah Love. They may already be out on Jeremiah Love. I don't feel comfortable with the Chiefs sacrificing a top-end running back in free agency with the hopes that Jeremiah Love falls to them at number 9. Because the Titans have been rumored to be very interested in Jeremiah Love. Okay, the Saints, the same thing. The Commanders. That's 3 teams that have to pass up on Jeremiah Love, who some have said is the best player in this draft. I disagree. I'm not comfortable with that. And I'm surprised that others are. And again, just the idea of waiting to see if a running back falls to you with the 9th overall pick makes me want to pull my hair out a little bit. And as talented as we believe Jeremiah Love is, there's still a certain amount of prove it in a prospect. As can't miss as some of them may be, at least we know Kenneth Walker can be successful at the NFL level. We've seen it with our own 2 eyes. He just won Super Bowl MVP a month ago. He's obviously a great player in this league. Jeremiah Love may very well be a great player in this league. In fact, I would bet towards it. But it's not a foregone conclusion. It's not an absolute guarantee. Mahomes is coming off an ACL tear. You got to have a more reliable running game just for the sake of its ability to open up things in the passing game. Kenneth Walker will do that for you. And if you can go get him in free agency and you're paying him 4 years, $48 million, you're paying him $12 million a year, and then you can go get an edge rusher at number 9 or a wide receiver like a Carnell Tate or a Caleb Downs at safety. Here we go. We're rocking and rolling. See what happens at 29. See what happens at pick 40. And Brett Veach said earlier this week they could have as much as $60 million in cap space. $12 million for a running back? That's a fifth of what you may have in cap space. I think it makes sense, man. I absolutely do. All right, off the soapbox, and Rob, we're into the hits.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
As always, Logan, the hits are brought to you by Baker University. Make your next era orange at Baker University, the first university in Kansas and ranked number 1 in return on investment among private universities in the state. Baker University, forever in our orange era. Well, Logan, just because it's March and free agency and basketball around the corner doesn't mean there's not some baseball news to talk about, as the Royals will actually play a spring training game here on 96.5 The Fan in about 90-ish minutes, 7 o'clock here. But they will not be with Bobby Witt, who is in the World Baseball Classic, playing at the same time for Team USA tonight against Brazil. But my question is not Team USA, Logan. Bobby Witt is the presumptive leadoff hitter for Team USA. Would you like to see Matt Quatrero, when he comes back from his stint in the World Baseball Classic, make BWJ the Royals leadoff hitter?
You know, I understand the appeal of it, but my answer is no. I understand the thought of he's got elite speed. He's led the league in hits the last 2 years. Great base runner, great base stealer. And you give your best hitter the guarantee to be your team's leader in at-bats. But is that really much different than him batting in the 2-hole? Like, how many more at-bats a year is the leadoff hitter getting than the guy hitting right behind him in the order? 12? 15? I think over the course of 162 games, it becomes a little bit more of a wash. And I don't want to see the Royals sacrifice what Bobby Witt Jr. does from a home run hitting and run producing perspective. This is a guy that can hit 30 home runs and drive in 100 a year. In fact, earlier this week, an ESPN baseball analyst predicted, his season prediction was that Bobby would go 40-40. Do you want a guy hitting leadoff in this lineup, hitting 40 home runs, having to rely on the 7, 8, and 9 hitters to get on base in order for him to drive them in? Nah, man, I'm sorry. I still believe in Jonathan India. I do. Maybe I'm in the minority on that. But he's a guy who he gets on base. Does he hit 290? No. But he's got a career 350 on base percentage. If that's the case, if he gets back to that form, he's on base a third of the time, with Bobby hitting right behind him to drive him in, with Vinny then hitting right behind him, with Salvi hitting behind him. I think that's best case scenario for this Royals team.
Number 2.
Well, as I mentioned, Logan, March is NFL, is it silly season? I don't know if it's officially silly season, but we're closing in on silly season. The Chiefs earlier this week made the blockbuster deal getting rid of Trent McDuffie and adding a bunch of picks. Now they hold in the first round number 9 overall, which they always did, and number 29 overall. Logan, do you think the Chiefs should be considering moving forward in this year's draft to try to acquire one of those edge rushers, especially considering the scarcity of the position, but only the Chiefs and the amount of teams ahead of them that might want one as well?
Moving up from number 9, no. Moving up at 29, I could get behind. We brought this up earlier, and I got a lot of pushback in the text line. I'm not saying I do not like the idea of the Chiefs trading up from the 9th overall pick. I absolutely do not like it. I just pointed it out that it is now a distinct possibility with the amount of additional draft capital the Chiefs have. The Chiefs could have as many as 18 draft picks over the next 2 years, this season and next season. That's ample capital to try to trade up and find a player with huge value. I don't want to see it at number 9. At number 29, I'm not in love with any of the guys that are in that range right now. But I look ahead a few picks. I look at picks 22, 23, 24, and I look at like a Caleb Banks from Florida. His lack of production at Florida makes me a little bit nervous, but the guy is an athletic marvel. He is a complete freak of nature on the interior of your defensive line. I don't think that you get a day 1 starter at edge rusher at pick 29. You move up to 22, 23, you find a Caleb Banks, who I believe has the athletic tools at his disposal to be a day 1 starter at D tackle, day 1, right next to Chris Jones. And I don't think it'll cost you an arm and a leg. trading up from 9 to get potentially into the top 5 to have a shot at an Arvell Reese or a David Bailey or a Reuben Bain would probably have to include either pick 29 this year or your first-round pick next year. I despise that thought. Moving up from the end of the first round to towards the middle of the first round, from 29 up to 22 or 23, is not going to break the bank. So, yes, I could see the Chiefs trading up, but I still don't see it happening at number 9.
Number 3.
Speaking of trades, a known commodity that could be on the move in the NFL, another one this offseason, is A.J. Brown. Now, he has been linked to the Patriots and the Chargers, but Logan, two-part question. One, speaking of trading, let's see the Chiefs using that draft capital to add the Eagles star wideout, and if not Kansas City, would you like to see him anywhere else other than Los Angeles?
First things first, no, I don't want to see him in Kansas City for a couple of reasons, and they're both because of expense, okay? Number one, A.J. Brown is expensive. Okay, his contract pays out a $23.4 million cap hit this year, $22.7 next year, a huge jump to $27.6 the following year, and in 2029 at age 32, he is set to make $29.307 million. That's a ton of money, okay? Then you have to think about the expense in terms of your draft capital. Reports are that the Eagles were offered a first and a third round pick for A.J. Brown, and Howie Roseman said no. A first and a third round pick is too expensive for me to begin with. So you're talking about the Chiefs would have to give up a first and a second, presumably, if not 2 firsts, to get A.J. Brown? Absolutely not. The Chiefs need this draft capital. They got to take advantage of it, whether it be via trading up, whether it be by using the picks to acquire talent. And who knows? Somebody in the text line just asked, how much would the Eagles still pay for A.J. Brown? That's the question, right? Maybe it wasn't the first and the third that were the no. It was how much this team was asking the Eagles to pay on his contract to send him away. A.J. Brown is a phenomenal football player. Is A.J. Brown a top 10 wide receiver in this league? I say no. And if he's not a top 10 wide receiver in the league, is it worth the quite possible headache that he would be off the field, on social media, frankly, on the field, when he has one game where he has 3 targets and 1 catch and decides to go crybaby me in social on his Instagram page? Second part, yeah, I would rather see him go anywhere else than the Los Angeles Chargers. Unless the Chargers misutilize him and he becomes a bit more of a headache for their team. However, and you brought this up, and this is a great point you raised earlier in the show. They have a really good offensive coordinator now in Mike McDaniel. You saw him navigate having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane on the same roster and being able to manufacture ways to get those guys targets, to get them touches in that offense. If there's an offensive coordinator in professional football right now that I believe would do everything within his power to make sure A.J. Brown, quote unquote, got his, it's Mike McDaniel in the Los Angeles Chargers. And what he would be able to do to unlock things a little bit more for Herbert, for him to play outside opposite Quentin Johnston with Ladd McConkey in the slot. I would not love to see it. No. I wouldn't like to see him with the Patriots either.
Number 4.
All right, Logan, our fourth and final hit is about Travis Kelce, as Nate Taylor is reporting on ESPN and on Cody and Gold, and basically anywhere you hear Nate Taylor, that all indications are Travis Kelce is expected to be back in 2026. Now, the presumption is that will be with the Chiefs, although I guess he doesn't have a contract right now. I can't imagine a world where he returns to the NFL, but not with the Chiefs. But that's neither here nor there. Logan, tight end, despite Kelce's impending likely return continues to be a need, you think the Chiefs should be eyeing TEOF, tied into the future, and heir apparent in this offseason as it gets kicked off on Monday?
I think it's got to be something you address. I'd rather they do it this season than next. You know, bring in somebody, whether it be via free agency or the draft, that can sit behind him for a year and then next year take over the reins. I like that idea much more than I like the idea of finding the guy next year, especially if it's a draft pick. Especially if it's somebody that, you know, it forces the Chiefs to have to spend a second-round pick on a tight end next year or a third-round pick next year. There are options in free agency this year. I think there's options in the draft this year that you could bring in that would have an opportunity to cook, right? That could sit behind or play alongside Travis Kelce next season in 2026. And I mean, what an experience that is, right? I mean, I feel like it would almost be malpractice in a sense to try to bring in somebody to replace Travis Kelce and not give them the opportunity to learn from Travis Kelce in the process. I mean, to bring over maybe like a Jonnu Smith, for example, you know, just throwing a name out there, an Isaiah Likely, although he's probably going to want to go elsewhere where he has an opportunity to actually be a starter. The kid from Ohio State in the draft this year, the kid from Michigan this year who had a really good combine. God, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to taking Eli Stowers at 40. Yeah, I said it. Tight end from Vanderbilt. Freakish combine. 45.5-inch vertical, a broad jump of over 12 feet. Great size. He's every bit of 6'5". I think Eli Stowers would be fun as hell to watch in this offense. And giving that guy like that a chance to learn from Travis Kelce for a year, I think that impact cannot be understated. And I know, and people are going to say, and I've seen it in the text line already, you know, Travis hasn't helped Wiley or Noah Gray. Why would he help anybody else? Who's to say he hasn't tried to help Jared Wiley or Noah Gray? I don't think those guys are talented enough. Noah Gray dropped, I don't know, infinite number of passes last year, it felt like. Jared Wiley has constantly been at the bottom of this depth chart to the point where they brought in Robert Tonyan to be tight end 3 last season. Andy Reid has a kind of relationship with Travis Kelce where I have no doubt in my mind Andy or Bieniemy or both could go to Trav and be like, hey, listen, you need to help this guy along the way. You have to, okay? There's guys there, man. I'm serious. I really think that the Chiefs should find the heir apparent to Travis Kelce this year rather than next year. Give that guy an opportunity to learn from the best of the best that the position's ever seen. 913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up. Stick around. Final hour of The Drive here on this Friday. Logan Weber filling in for CDOT alongside Rob Brenton. 96.5, The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison and Rob Brenton.
You losers is what you are.
On your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13 and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
There's nothing like the sound of Royals baseball. When the boys in blue take the field, loyal fans tune tune in, turn it up, and stay connected. And where do Kansas City's most passionate sports fans gather? Right here on 96.5 The Fan. Sports fans are loyal fans. They support the teams they love and the businesses that support their team. If you're ready to grow your business and connect with a dedicated, engaged audience, call 816-522-0444 or email greg.bergen@odyssey.com. That's greg.bergen@odyssey.com.
As the seasons change, it's time to prep your HVAC system with a $49 seasonal tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. A tune-up can help save money on your energy bill and help prevent expensive breakdowns. As your local home service experts, everything we do is backed by our exceptional service guarantee. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews adds up to dependable service from neighbors you trust. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight loss hypnosis. Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Shore Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13 and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Tonight, expect rain with a low of 40.
Weather brought to you by Staples. From posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store and online. Staples. That was easy.
Go to 965thefan.com for your chance to win an X-Family instant ticket, plus a shot at winning 4 Diamond Club seats to the K, all powered by the Kansas Lottery. Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
We've got a crash up at 29 northbound just past Northwest 64th. It is 2 right lanes that are blocked, so you've got 1 left lane getting through 29 northbound past Northwest 64th. We've also got Blue Springs, that crash. It's slowing you down both directions. The crash is 70 eastbound at 7 Highway, right lane blocked, but westbound very heavy as well. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Earlier this afternoon, we had a chance to catch up with a couple of different guys. Nick Springer of the Payheed podcast, talking KU, as well as Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation. And with Nick, we talked about tomorrow afternoon's game against K-State, what a win would mean in terms of getting back on track after a couple of dismal performances heading into the Big 12 tournament, and whether or not this team can get back into that 3-seed conversation for the NCAA tournament. But really, the most important part of our conversation with Nick came down to what is going on with Darren Peterson. What's it going to take for this team to mold itself back together now that we're seeing Darren play consistent, reliable minutes? He's playing 30 to 34 minutes a game, or at least he has over their last 4 or 5 matchups. But it just seems like he hasn't been super comfortable in those settings, and the team hasn't been comfortable in those settings, especially late in games.
What's the most important time in the postseason where you want to have everybody on the floor understanding what's happening and having that team chemistry? It's at the end of the game, in the critical moments of the game. Well, Kansas has had basically 0 reps of Darren Peterson in those moments, right? You go back to the Arizona State game, they're down 2 with 3 minutes left. They give up a 3 and then an immediate steal, and Arizona goes to 7, and the game's basically over from there. But the point being that if it's a 2-point game, if it's a 4-point game, one way or the other for Kansas late in an NCAA tournament game with Darren Peterson on the floor, it's not like those guys had a lot of those experiences with him out there together in those clutch moments. So I am a little bit nervous about that, a little bit worried about that. As far as Darren Peterson goes, it's so tough. He's in a really difficult spot because I think there's moments where he looks like he's trying to do too much, where he really, really wants to individually create and try to score, and it can have ripple effects across the offense in negative ways. And then there's other moments where it's like, man, you love to see him drive that situation and take it, and he's a bit more passive, right? So he's kind of been in a lose-lose situation, I think, in terms of what he's trying to figure out when he needs to do, when he needs to be aggressive, when he needs to be that guy versus when he can be more of a facilitator.
Rob, you're our resident KU guy. You know, give me your thoughts. What are you at all concerned about if Darren can find it again, if he can get back to that elite level that has many people thinking he's the best player in this draft? And do you think this team can mesh itself together quickly enough in those, like he was talking about, the biggest minutes of the game, the final 4 minutes of a game coming into the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament, to be at their best when it matters most?
I actually worry way more about the cohesion in the game situation that Nick laid out there than I am about Darren refining his shot. I don't worry about an excellent shot maker like Darren Peterson eventually figuring out. Is he been cold ever since the Oklahoma State game? Absolutely. There's no way around that. But he's still finding a way to put up double-digit points in those games. Like he had double digits against Arizona despite shooting poorly. He had double digits against Arizona State despite shooting poorly. Like I eventually think a player of his caliber is going to see the ball go to the basket enough where he's going to start turning something into a more quality approach. I don't really worry about that. I mean, time is kind of against him, but I'm not super worried about it. The cohesion point Nick made is excellent to me because KU had battled all the way back. They were down 20 at one point. They were getting run off the court by the Sun Devils, and they had it down to 2. And you felt like, all right, trial by fire. This is where like you're supposed to, we've been through some battles. We've played some tough games. Let's see what happens. Badunga misses a layup. Then there's a 3. Then there's a steal, and the wheels fall off. And it just felt like in those moments, it was a lot of let's get Darren a touch and let's see what happens from there. Where if you're having those learning experiences in, say, November, December, January, you kind of figure out, hey, end of game, here's how Darren likes the ball, et cetera, et cetera. They don't know that. So I'm way more worried about cohesion with this team than I am anything else, which is a product of the weird season they've had because their best player has been battling injury basically since the word go.
It's become somewhat of a strange paradox for this KU team because it's felt like at times this year, it looked like Darren's lack of availability at times was seen as a benefit to them. Like when he would get back out on the floor with them during that huge stretch they had in January where they were playing what I would say is their best basketball of the year. Darren came back after he'd missed a bunch of time, and they kind of hit the ground running. It looked like Trey White and Flory Badunga and Melvin Council had the runway to find their confidence, and then it seemed like Darren kind of slid back in seamlessly, and they were off and running when they blew out Iowa State, earlier in the game, went on that big run. But now that he's back and he's playing consistently and he's playing 30 to 34 minutes a game, it's just not clicking. It's having a negative impact on Darren, certainly. It's also having a negative impact on Flory Badunga, who, looked absolutely ridiculously dominant in that Arizona game. He made Koa Pete's life hell for 40 minutes and has kind of disappeared since then. right? Melvin Council is Melvin Council. That man is as crazy good, crazy bad as you can find in a college basketball player. That man has one gear, and he's either on or off, but it's not going to stop his lack of shots. Trey White hasn't looked like the guy that we saw in January and in December since Darren's been back here at the end of February and into March. So, yeah, I do completely agree with that. You know, do you think there's any merit to the fact of maybe Darren's forcing it? You mentioned, yeah, he's still scoring in double figures every game. But if he's scoring in if it's taking him 18 shots to get 11 points and 5 of those are coming from the free throw line, do you think that that's having a positive or a negative impact on this KU team?
I think right now the offense struggles because I don't think they understand how to play with Darren. And I think these are things where if you didn't have the injury problems you did this year from Peterson, you would have figured it out at like the Champions Classic.
Yeah.
You would have figured it out at the NC State game. You would have figured it out maybe at the Missouri game. You would have had a non-con game that, hey, it was tight. We kind of figure it out. They have to figure this out on the fly, and figuring it out in March is never a winning formula, and I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen them be 2-4 down the stretch here. It coincides with Darren getting more minutes, which is great, but also you got to figure out how to play with Darren getting all these minutes because it's a new situation for a lot of the guys on the floor.
We also had a chance to catch up with Sam Snelling of Rock M Nation. We talked about tomorrow night's game at Missou Arena, 20th ranked Arkansas coming into town. The big news right now, Darius Acuff Jr., Arkansas's leading scorer, probable lottery pick coming up in this year's NBA draft, not going to go tomorrow night. It really will help Mizzou's chances of winning tomorrow, getting into the NCAA tournament. I asked Sam about Mizzou's chances of getting into the NCAA tournament and what a win or a loss to Arkansas tomorrow might do to impact that.
I would say no to the first part. I don't think like all of this kind of depends on what everybody else does. But you know, teams in and around the bubble tend to fluctuate a lot, and certainly in Missouri's case, if they were to lose this game, I don't think it would knock them out. It might put them in danger of going to Dayton, but I think it probably drops them from like the top 10 seed line to the bottom 10 seed line. So maybe they get a slightly less favorable matchup. But to me, the main thing is they just really need to win one more game to kind of secure and feel good about their odds. Like if you lose to Arkansas and you go to the SEC tournament, and there's so if you lose to Arkansas, then you're not in the double bye. You're playing on Thursday night, and you play somebody that's upset at you, like an Ole Miss or Mississippi State comes and beats you, or a team that has been terrible all year, has a poor net rating, and gives you like a quad 2 or quad 3 loss. It's going to look a lot worse.
So I'm sort of in agreement. I don't think that a loss tonight impacts Mizzou's chances of making the NCAA tournament. It's a quad 1 loss. You lost to the number 20 team in America. It does make it look a little bit worse considering Darius Acuff Jr. is not playing. But you win tonight, you're in the field. You win tonight, you are solidified as a 9 seed at least, with people pushing you for the 8 seed. Maybe most importantly about this game tomorrow is that a win paired with a Tennessee loss gives Mizzou the 4 seed in the SEC tournament, meaning a double bye, not to mention the resume boost of being a top 4 team in the conference, which has been one of the better basketball conferences in the country the last few seasons. You look at the top, a team like Florida ahead of them in the standings, they have a win against that Florida team. So this win is much bigger than just beating Arkansas and getting another top 25 win. It makes you a lock for the NCAA tournament and potentially makes you a top 4 seed, which will only improve, your seeding possibilities for the NCAA tournament coming up in March. Logan Weber here filling in for Carrington alongside Rob Britton. We'll come back and wrap things up next. You're listening to The Drive, 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... Let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more. Visit our inventory at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Thank you for a great 2025 and promise to continue giving you reason to shop at Shawnee Mission Ford in 2026. Great selection of new and used vehicles, large discount, top trade allowance, and mobile service when you need it. There's no reason to go anywhere else. Shawnee Mission Ford, on a mission to do more in 26.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
New Century Ram, Jeep, and Dodge in Paola keeps it simple. Honest deals without big city overhead. Shop their full lineup of new and used cars, trucks, and Rams and Jeeps at New Century Dodge Chrysler JeepRam.com. And for 2026, the powerful V8 Hemi is back in Ram trucks. Just a quick 20-minute drive south of the city could save you thousands. New Century Ram, Jeep, and Dodge. You'll always pay less in Paola.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Here's your traffic report on 96.5 The Fan.
This one brought to you by DM Injury Law. Hey, Mike's got this. 816-888-7500. We've got a crash. Blue Springs, 70 eastbound at 7 Highway. Scoot to the left through here, and you're slow westbound side as well. A new crash, well, westbound. That may explain some of the slow go. 70 westbound just before 40 Highway. It is the left lane blocked there. I'm Val with traffic on 96.5 The Fan.
This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Chiefs football.
Here's a bit of good news that we can take into the weekend. Now, it's not a confirmed thing. It hasn't come directly from Mahomes himself or his personal trainer or, anybody necessarily inside the circle. But Jay Glazer, a longtime NFL insider, earlier this week talked about Patrick Mahomes and whether or not he will be ready to go for this Chiefs team by week 1. He was on the Dan Patrick Show, and he seemed pretty confident that Mahomes being back by week 1 is more or less a foregone conclusion.
The initial reports were, kind of on the fringe there, but I want to tell you, Patrick's different. He's different. So he went down, he immediately got the surgery, flew himself down. I think he flew private down there, got the surgery maybe the next day, which normally they don't do because you want like the swelling. He got it before it really swelled up, right? And so that was on a Tuesday. I believe it was either Thursday or Friday that week. He was already in the Chiefs training room doing rehab. And he already had gotten his knee bending at 90 degrees at that point, which he's just different. He heals differently. This is a guy, who dislocated his kneecap and his leg was turned. It was turned around during a game. And he was like, hey, literally, he asked their trainer, Rick Burkholder, and doctors, is it broken? No? Okay. Then tape it up and let's go back. And they're like, we're not taping up. Your knee is facing that way. And they're like, he's like, no, just tape it and let's go. And like, he had a dislocated toe going into a Super Bowl and it fully dislocated and he never took any time. Like he just finished out the game. His pain threshold's different. His work ethic's different. So, well, at first they're like, oh, start of the season. I think I would probably hedge on him being, sooner than that.
So the fact that Jay Glazer's not saying like, I'm hearing from sources, it sort of feels to me like this is just Jay Glazer's interpretation of what's happening. But there were parts of it that do allow for me to be confident in Mahomes being ready to go by week 1. Number one, he mentioned the week of his surgery and the fact that he got the surgery on Tuesday before the swelling had really started to set in on the knee, and said that by Thursday or Friday that week, he was already rehabbing. He was already bending his knee at 90 degrees. I don't know a ton, right? I'm not a doctor, obviously. I don't know a lot about major knee reconstruction surgeries like a torn ACL, but I've seen enough and I've been around enough of them in my time covering athletics and playing sports myself that it is incredibly uncommon, like borderline unheard of, for a guy to be bending his knee at 90 degrees 2 weeks after ACL surgery, let alone 2 or 3 days after ACL surgery. So, I mean, if that is the case, yeah, it appears as if he began his rehab multiple weeks ahead of schedule. A lot of people have said, and again, I always thought of like an ACL tear as more of like a 6-month recovery rather than a 9-month recovery. That's where that's what the timetable is for Mahomes right now, from the time he tore the ACL and had the surgery to when the Chiefs will have their first game, which I believe is September 13th, I want to say, is almost at, if not right at 9 months exactly. I've said before, I think Mahomes is back week 1, but if this is true and if Mahomes continues to progress, which by the indications of Jay Glazer and how adamant he was about it, what are the chances Mahomes is back by preseason? Is that outside the realm of possibility? An 8-month recovery rather than a 9-month recovery? What kind of impact does that make on the Chiefs? What does that mean for the backup quarterback possibilities? But before I get too far ahead of myself, setbacks are always a possibility, right? Things can happen. He may be a month ahead of schedule right now, but one small thing goes wrong, and all of a sudden, being a month ahead, now you're a month behind. So it gives me a different level of confidence in Mahomes being ready to go for this Chiefs team week 1 than I had previously. But I got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because with a major surgery like that, things can always happen. One small thing can reset and set back a rehab weeks at a time. But and the fact that it comes from Jay Glazer, I think, gives it a little bit more reputable, like a little bit more of a I can rely on that feel to it. Because Jay's been doing this a long time. He's been covering this league forever, man. And we all know Mahomes is different, right? That's not news to anybody. But for somebody who's covered the league for 3 decades to say, and he's seen some freaks of nature in that league, for him to say, dude, Mahomes is unbelievable. Like, his work ethic, his pain threshold. I'm simultaneously trying to talk myself into being confident about Jay Glazer's report and trying to also talk myself out of it. Sort of like I want to believe it, but I don't want to get hurt kind of situation. For Rob Britton, I'm Logan Weber. Thanks for joining us here today on The Drive. We got Royals Spring Training Baseball next here on 96.5, The Fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for K-State athletics. 96.5, The